All right, this is Randalicious, and welcome to the 88th Hexis podcast. Some topics included on this podcast are the Fortis Colosseum, the Perilous moons, the new Jagex Launcher news, the continuous spam of news posts and updates, forestry tweaks, sailing, and more. The game is still pumping out news and information updates more than they have ever done ever before, and it's certainly at an alarming rate. Since I completed the format for this podcast less than just a couple of days ago, we've gotten news post announcements on Varlamore activities, Karen changes, Perilous, which is a mid-level PVM boss, and earlier today there was a mega news post about Game Jam 4 that was released. The content and posts that have happened in the last 2 days are gonna have to hold off until the next podcast. Again, I said it at the last podcast as well. They're pumping out updates, weight, and information seemingly about everything besides sailing, but the game's progressing at such an alarming rate in terms of the information that's going on that I feel like already the next podcast format is already completed with what they've given us. But this and all future Hexis podcasts are available on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify. You can submit a topic in the Submit a Topic channel that we have in the Hexis Discord, and we'll give you a shout out if your topic is selected to be added in. Let's get to it. I'm Randalicious, and I'm the leader of Hexis.
I'm Plundering. I am a moderator in Hexis.
I am Awenix, Hexis mod, and Enjoys Disciple.
Enjoys Disciple. Hello, my name is Seb, and I love Runescape. And I'm 23 mil RC from Turmlal.
Big.
Hey, what's up? I'm Drag, previously known as Ozium. Pleasure to be back.
I'm Rigondeaux. I used to be rank 6 overall on the main front page for many years. Now I'm an Ironman aspiring to get better at PVM.
Yeah, you just completed Max in your Iron Man. Big congrats on that. So how did the gameplay of maxing on an Iron feel compared to like 9 years ago when you did it on your main?
Cheers, Randy. Maxing back in 2014, we have to remember that this before the G even existed. You know, we had to go out and get our supplies from players, whatnot, meet in worlds, blah, blah. I honestly think that maxing back then was way more difficult than maxing an Ironman in this day and age. Just because of all of the non-existent quality of life updates that we had back then, the slower methods, etc. I mean, Randy, I don't know about you, but a super heated gold ore for 99 smithing and magic.
That's what you needed to do at the time.
That was meta back then, and
blast furnace wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and I remember having to super 150,000 gold ore one by one without a Q mechanic.
Yeah.
Just one example. So yeah, way harder, way more difficult to max back then than even maxing an Ironman these days. We have so much quality of life updates. We have quite a few mini games to make skilling more easy. I could go on, but yeah.
What would you say was the most fun thing that you did on the Iron while maxing?
Yeah, good question. I'd probably say Guardians of the Rift. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and Bloods. Huh?
Now I'm a big fan of Goddess of the Rift.
Yeah, it was a great update, I thought, bro. But no, I'd probably say the most enjoyable thing I did was Blood RC.
Okay.
True Blood Altar.
Oh,
I've always liked my runecrafting.
Yeah. You got did 100 mil RC XP through Nats, only like 4,000 hours of just beasting the skill.
It did, yeah.
So
that was a long time ago now, Randy. It doesn't feel like I did that. I'm not that player anymore, man. I'm not that player, my brother. He died a long time ago.
Well, so you were in Hexis for many years. What were some of the best and worst stories you remember, just like from your experience being in the clan?
I mean, I never left, Randy. Someone kicked me out. I wonder who that was. I have no idea. I never left. My best memories. I would say the old TeamSpeak days, Randy. Me, you, Ashy, Transmusic, Trickle, the good old days, you know. Worst memories? I don't really have any bad memories of chilling out in Hexis back then. Nothing. Just good times.
Oh, great. All right, so we had a topic that was submitted by Grob, and it's, do you think the nostalgia of the old school feel is forever gone with the amount of plugins that are regularly used?
Right. Nostalgia went away for me like within a week of playing old school RuneScape. It's like a short dose, isn't it? Doesn't last a long time, for me anyway. I think... Nostalgia. Sorry, let me read the question again. My bad, Randy. Yeah, the game does feel a lot different in this day and age, but I actually like the plugins. Some would take the piss, but you know me, I'm a laid-back player. I love my quality of life stuff, so that's all I got to say, really. Nostalgia went a long time ago for me, though.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah, it definitely like ruined the nostalgia, sure, but like personally, I've never played like RS2 or anything, so like, I don't even mind. Like, I don't really have nostalgia, if that makes sense. So like, I don't mind it. I mean, I don't think there's anything they can do about it anyway. So like, they can remove plugins. Like, you know, when Runelight gets like, you know, Jagex like updates the game and Runelight goes down, everyone starts freaking out. It's like when it sounds like 1 hour.
Plugins here to stay.
Yeah.
You know, if Jagex even do anything to touch Runelight, they'll lose probably half the fucking player base, man.
Yeah.
It's like we're addicted to this point. Like you try to take alcohol away from alcoholists.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's like all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think the nostalgia is pretty much gone, but for me, I guess the enjoyable part of the game to me is, I guess, just seeing consistent progress, and in my opinion, as long as things don't get out of hand with like crazy XP rate methods or methods that give a bunch of experience and multiple skills at one time, that kind of stuff, where it's very far from balanced. That's pretty much the only thing that could kind of turn me off from what I feel like is the enjoyable part of the game to me. That and more intrusive microtransactions. I feel like bonds are fine as is, and as long as it stays that way, then I don't really see me quitting because of any lost nostalgia or because of any bad update that I think could completely ruin my enjoyment of the game.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned bonds. I don't have a question on it, but like they have this special going on right now with bonds, to where if you redeem it, you get 16 days of membership as opposed to 14. What kind of?
Right.
I was just looking right now. Like bonds are up at what, 9.5. Doesn't look like looks like the price kind of went from like 8.3 ish to about 9.5. Just looking at it.
Yeah. They've been that high recently, though, like in the past couple weeks, so it's not really a huge spike in price. And yeah, I'm not really bothered by it. But then again, I also bought like 40 bonds for a year of membership on both my accounts for like 7.5 mil each.
Oh, nice.
3 weeks ago. So I'm set.
Well, yeah, for me, like, I almost like this game's been out for such a long time that I almost like take the question as like, is the nostalgia gone from like the release of old school, not necessarily like RS2 or you know, like actual 2007 with the plugins at least, because like for me it's definitely gone from the release of old school with the plugins, but I would say like the the method changes, like Plundering mentioned, is where the nostalgia's gone from like old 2007 days. Like I think like the only meta that's really like still has a bit of nostalgia left is like 4G at the quarry, because people actually mined at the quarry back in 2007, but essentially everything else is totally different from there. But as far as like plugins go, the game, like I feel like I have nostalgia from like the release of old school, like when you guys were talking about like, the rig 100 mil RC and shit. Like I feel like that nostalgia is totally gone. It just feels like a whole different game now with the plugins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a very different game, and with the plugins, I mean, we can use certain plugins or clients to completely change the visuals of the games, where it looks like a completely different game. And then the updates itself, I think, have been more so more damaging to the nostalgia or the old school feel of the game rather than any kind of plugins. But you know, like the plugins are also pretty messed up. Like you know, love my boy JCW, but like I was watching him streaming earlier today. He was doing crafting. He was crafting emeralds while doing the like the artifacts thieving, and it's like he's got so many different tiles. And, like there's so many different colors of tiles that he has marked and numbered, and it's like holy crap! Like that does not look like RuneScape.
Yeah, and... but it's a massive shame, Randy. The client babysits you these days, pretty much.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of different things, whether it be the updates that have happened to the game, the extent that plugins have taken, or just the community itself evolving over time. But I don't think that necessarily makes it bad. I mean, I definitely don't agree with the current direction, but I think that things were very good a few years ago. But I don't think that forever gone. I think sure, like, you know, based on the way that the question is worded and with how it was submitted. But I think, you know, if you come on and play the game to have fun, that's the goal.
It's still old school RuneScape to me, bro. We're just doing different things in this day and age.
Do you think the game is closer to like RS3, like when old school came out? So do you think the current state of the game, and I don't know if any of us are even qualified to answer it, but it's, you know, for anyone listening, like just ponder the question yourself. Like, is the game that we play right now, is it more fucked than RS3 was when old school came out?
It's a good question because I never played RS3.
I don't know. Like, I mean, like RS3 had living rock caverns and shit. That was really, really bad. And like IV for AFK woodcutting. So I don't know. That's tough.
For me, what ruined RS3 was, well, before I ever became a skiller, I was primarily making pure accounts to PK with, and EOC pretty much ruined that aspect of the game. So that's when I started, I guess, transitioning into becoming a skiller. And yeah. And other than that, it was just microtransactions and dailies that were what really put me off with the game.
Yeah, to touch on the last question real quick, personally, I wasn't too big into playing RuneScape 3 as like I am into old school. Like I still played, I just wasn't the player obviously I am now, but I feel like the progression was just a little different as opposed to now. Old school seems to progress in a different way than RuneScape 3, so it's a little hard to compare it like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I never really thought about that. Is old school in a worse spot now? It's definitely in a weird spot, that's for sure. But then to answer the nostalgia question, I also personally never considered plugins too nostalgic. Like talking about this question. I say that just because like they never affected my nostalgia. Like I get little bits of nostalgia just like going to Varrock, Lumbridge, stuff like that. So I guess maybe my idea of it's a little different. I don't like most of the plugins that are regularly used nowadays, but I don't know. I don't really think the nostalgia for me has really disappeared.
it's hard for me, bro. Let me just say it quickly. It's hard for me to actually get nostalgia in old school RuneScape because I am quite a fucking ancient player. Okay, this game is a backup of the 2007 version, right? I started in 03, early 04, so even Varrock, Falador, etc. all looked different back then. You know, it had the pixelated bricks and shit like that.
It was 0304. Was that classic at that time, or
I started in the beta. So my friend had an account on the beta, and we used to share the account and play. That's when I first started the RS2 beta, the updated graphics, late 03. Then when RS2 officially came out, that's when I made my account.
Okay.
Early 04, I think. Long time ago now, but
yeah. All right, so next topic we got submitted is by Faye Poppy is what makes a good skiller, and like if you have a list, like who would be your top 3 and why? Plundering.
My bad. So I would say consistency is definitely the number one factor of a good skiller. I guess motivation and I mean I don't know, I guess just life circumstances, I guess, really make a huge difference. But for certain people, I would say I haven't really been involved in the high level community for very long, but just from people I've, just seen and been around, I'd probably say Enjoys would be one of, he'd be up there. I'm not really sure who else.
Okay. I think there's a bunch of different ways that you could say what makes a good skiller. I mean, you could have like the hyper micro efficient players that are consistently going for records, but throughout the history of the HLC, we've had players that are amazing at setting records, but then like they're never going for 200 mils or anything like that. So being able to be extremely good at clicking, certainly makes you a good skiller. Consistency makes you a good skiller. Like Lynx Titan, doing what he did, makes him a great skiller. And there are so many different ways, I feel like, of assessing what makes someone a good skiller. Like, and I mean,
why do you need to be a good clicker, Andy?
Because I feel I shouldn't say you need to. I said that like I think that's one bracket that you could have. Like, if we're looking at good skiller, you could see that branch off into several different like categories, and I think one of those categories would be like very good at micro efficiency.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Not that is the end all, certainly at all. Because I mean, we got players that are not as micro efficient, but they're very good and long-term consistent players, and they've been able to achieve a lot of success that way. And then I think another thing that you could use to determine someone like being a good skiller could like extend out from what it is that they themselves do and progress in the game themselves, like discovering new methods, the influence that they have on skillers as well, like I think is another, obviously smaller, but like another branch in what could make someone a good skiller as well. So I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can assess what makes someone a good skiller, but I would say probably the thing more important than any of it probably is the consistency. And I don't have a list of a top 3, but I'm gonna just give a shout out Lynx Titan, number 1.
Yeah, I agree with Randy on this one. There's quite a bit of different ways you could go about answering this, but for me personally, just because I haven't been around the skilling community as long as I have in other communities, but to me, what really makes a good skiller is obviously one, the consistency is such I think everybody's gonna say. But I actually really think you can go a little deeper into that as well. But consistency and how willing you are to put in the more efficient methods. Anybody can kind of like AFK stuff and like no offense to anybody that does that if that's how you like the game. But for a good skiller, if you're consistently putting in high level methods with high level hours, that's really impressive to me. And then also one thing this kind of correlates with my next answer as far as top 3 skillers, but I don't think a lot of people can do this anymore. But my top favorite skiller is Acid Soul, and to like kind of make it your own and to almost like make a show out of like what you're doing. I mean, I don't know how many people were even around for that anymore that are listening to this, but for the people that were, obviously, like that was so enjoyable just to be there. And I think that's what a lot of people lack anymore. My other top favorites are definitely going to be Autumn Elegy, and then actually right now I'm a huge fan of Onyx. Like he might think I'm bullshitting him because he's in the call with us right now, but yeah, man, your clicks are sick, man. I'm a really big fan. I swear, dude.
No way, I appreciate it, but no way. There's better people, much better people.
I mean, you got like, good style though, bro.
Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me, I totally agree with like kind of those classifications, consistency, micro, and innovation. I do think like if I had a friend starting RS or OSRS and they were like, how do like I want to max as quick as possible, like how do I do this method? I feel like if you're a good player, you should be able to just do essentially any method and get 1-to-1. I mean, not like if you've never done it before, but like I think like I don't know, it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, that guy's super good if you can't do that. I'm not saying that like you have to, but I don't know. So I'd say just being able to get 1-to-1 with like at least most methods in the game is important in my opinion. But like I think of players like DK Ho, just like ridiculously consistent, can get essentially over 1-to-1 in any method he does, like, and just players like that are like, kind of like the ideal, like Lynx as well, like the ideal just combination of all that. Top 3, Lynx number 1, and then in no order I would have to go JCW because of innovation plus clicks plus ridiculously consistent, and Joys of course, and Vior. It was just 4, but whatever.
Yeah, I would say 2 things really: dedication and good concentration. If you're doing tick manipulation methods, that's about it really. I think I've PKing, PVMing, and skilling is the least impressive. So that's just me and my top. I'm gonna say my top 2 favorite skillers. Number 1, Acid Soul. I thought he was very inspiring back in the day. I loved his vibe. And number 2 for me would be Autumn Elegy, just because he cares about the game, and he's a great legendary skiller.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Glad to hear we agree, Rick. I said I'm glad to hear we agree on those 2.
Acid Soul. I wonder where that boy's gone. Where the fuck is Acid Soul gone?
He posted on Twitter probably like 5 years ago or so with some kind of, it was almost like an ominous update. Oh, let me see. I'm looking it up right now.
I was always really intrigued by his personality.
Yeah. So okay, he posted in like May of 2018. But then a few years after, he posted, looks like it was March of 2021. And he's got some kind of, I mean, he had some kind of health problems. Was pretty much the overarching summary of whatever it was going on with him. It's a long post in the on his
Let's check it out
from a few years ago. I'll link it to you right now.
Lost in the flow of Acid Soul.
Yeah, so there's the link right there. It's a long post. What about you, Sebi? What do you think makes a good skiller?
It's gonna be pretty similar opinions. Like I would say like consistency as well. I would say like a big like EHP year, like that type of consistency, not like a big week or month, like just like big years. Like my number one skill would be Randalicious.
Oh, God bless.
No. Okay, but my top three would be number one. Number one. I'm surprised no one said this guy. I'm really confused. I mean, Rodney Farmer, right? Like for sure. Like I don't know.
mean,
What
I pretty much look at him as Lynx Titan Jr. Like,
really?
Yeah, I agree.
I missed
But
the name. What did you say,
like
sorry?
5K years.
what-
Rodney Farmer?
Lynx did that for longer, though, is the thing.
Wasn't he doing like 4K though? This guy's doing like 5.5 something.
He was doing like 5K. I mean, when you're looking at stuff
Okay.
now, it's certainly scaled down to what it was when he did it
Yeah.
at the time,
For
but he was like 5K, 5K, 5K. I
No,
mean,
that's true. Like
Rodney,
Lynx started
Rodney
like
definitely
late.
deserves to get praise, though. You know, don't take it that way, but
But I would also say number two, it's between Bailey and Lynx. But I'll probably go with Lynx number two and Bailey number three. I was
I was
surprised not Bailey, but
I was gonna say another thing is like actually like planning out your route and stuff. Cause yeah, that's one thing like Randy, you were so good at, like the macro of just like not minimizing that time loss was is a really good quality to have and care about.
But it's also interesting, like someone touched upon like innovation.
yeah, I did.
Like, I'm not sure like who invented what, like who came up with like fire bonds, who came up with like free tick, who came up with like one tick chance. I don't know these things, but like I feel like if you can come up like how to one tick, you're definitely good at scaling. Like you can like figure out the method. Like that's like peak knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you have actually innovated. If you've actually innovated the method, I think you're a great skiller. Like I don't care who you are, like if you innovate that method that's actually used, you're definitely a good skiller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different methods that people have developed over time, and it's not. That's one thing about like skilling is it's not really as well documented as like who created what method. Like, when we won the, I'm not sure which skilling cup that was after that we won, but after one of the skilling cup championships that we had, like Solus was trying to figure out how we did what we did for woodcutting, and that kind of ended up leading to development in like mining becoming like herb and tar methods started to be pop up as a thing from that. And I don't know who particular would be most responsible or get credited with that, but like I know that like AJ was one of like the people at the forefront of trying to replicate what Trance, Ned, and I had done for woodcutting. So like there's, and yeah, like fire bonding is amazing. Like Dreary was one of the people that like was the like first person that I had seen that had figured out that you could like one tick Karams for, a ton of XP per hour. And this is 10 years ago when it was
Very German, right, Randy?
German might have
player.
been. Yeah, I mean he's from Europe. That's what I know.
I remember he had like long curly brown hair. Sorry, go on there.
But
I remember.
yeah, like he was an incredibly innovative skiller at the time. More than 10 years ago. Like people have no idea how hard it was to one tick Karams back then. Like you had to literally use like 14 different keys on your keyboard with AHK to be able to do it. Whereas right now it's hold down the fucking space bar and move your inventory as close as you can possibly have to it. So like, like you guys that are one ticking now ain't built the same as he was. So yeah, there's I mean, I think that makes you a good skiller as well.
Yeah, big shout out to Paisuri. Definitely another one of those people who's pushing
Paisuri.
the boundaries of what anyone even thought was like possible. Really.
Oh my god, I've forgotten about Paisuri. The last time I seen him was at the Deadman Mode Invitational, and boy was smashed. On a sofa
You
passed
saw him in
out.
person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Paisuri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mixed race dude. Quite small. Even smaller than me. Yeah, nice guy. I think he had a anime profile picture on his Twitter.
That
I
sounds
remember.
accurate.
I remember. Yep, I remember him. He vanished too, did he not?
Yep.
Yeah, he used to come to the Deadman Mode Invitationals in Leicester back in the day.
Okay.
But he would pass out every time from drinking too much, bless him. But he was a lovely chap.
That's funny.
What a beast.
All right. So
Was he? Was he a good skiller? I don't know much about him. I just remember his name.
He's one of the best. Like when I had mentioned, like there are people that are like really great clickers, but they had no consistency whatsoever.
Oh
Like,
shit!
Yeah.
That guy would be like one of the like probably 10 names that would come to mind.
Yeah.
Like under that, like Ned Flanders obviously is another one.
Oh, my boy Ned. We used to RC together.
Yeah.
Is he still around, Randy?
No, that man's been gone for a long time. Did he?
Oh, and I miss.
Real quick, did he? How? No disrespect, but how often did he lap you? That man was.
Nah. He was faster, but not by much.
That guy could click.
Yeah, I was fast back in my heyday, but not as fast as Ned. No one was really.
Yeah.
I don't remember him lapping me though. I'm a humble dude. I'd admit that if he did, but I don't remember him lapping me. Not in my early 20s. Nah. Yeah.
All right. Got a topic that submitted from Onyx was what is your biggest strength or weakness like as a player in the game, would you say? Like what we were just talking about like what makes a skiller good, like some of those traits that you might have, or maybe you have something else that you're good at or bad at. What do you think?
Me personally, my strengths I think is I do have a lot of drive for a lot of things, especially because I think I've pretty much branched out into like every aspect this game has to offer. So like, if something bores me, which isn't very frequently, but I can, go do other things and quite enjoy, like I said, like every aspect of the game. But ultimately, I think I have a lot of drive. My biggest weakness right now, though, is unfortunately through all the years I have been playing RuneScape, I've developed quite a number of health and posture problems. So it's very hard for me right now to play consistently. Like, oftentimes when I'm not playing RuneScape, I'm kind of like out trying to like exercise and do things. So when I get home, I can play RuneScape, to kind of incentivize how much I actually like the game. But
You get that Herman Miller?
Oh yeah, man. I actually use it a little more for work. Like I got so many different setups, Randy. It's ridiculous, man. Sammy, right? Like I got the Sammy disease.
Right. I love my Herman Miller, bro. I got the Embody.
Oh yeah,
Logitech Embody.
Yeah, that one is like the peak of chairs. I have the Aeron. And
the Aeron's a good shout.
I got a head attachment for it.
Yeah.
But that Embody, man, that is
for me, a few of the streamers
in stock nearby, and I didn't want to, like my biggest thing when I was buying it, I completely off topic, but like when I was buying the chair, it was like, all right, like I don't want to drop like 1,500 or 2K, whatever. I mean, it's an expensive chair for the Embody. I don't want to pay that much and sit in the chair and not like it. I want to be able to feel this before I buy it, and there was no place nearby that I could test one out. But there was
just gotta wing it.
Well, I ended up finding it was like a local, almost like a liquidator type facility that they bought like all these these Herman Miller Aerons from like some big business in Chicago or something. Like either they got all new chairs, they went bankrupt or whatever, and like this company then bought probably like 500 of these Aerons from them, and then we're then reselling them afterwards. So like I sat in several of them. I think mine was a couple years old when I bought it, but dude, I sat in this Aeron that was like, and it has the manufacture date on the bottom of it. This thing was 18 years old. And 18, dude. It was
Randy, do you know how many farts that chair has tanked?
Oh, I'm
18
sure
years.
He's got the air on though.
I'm sure quite a number. But I sat in the chair and I was like, damn, like this does not feel bad, and it's 18 years old.
Bro, it's a 12-year warranty.
That was what sold me on it. I mean, I bought a newer one, but like I was like, you know what? If this chair is this comfy in 10 years, I'll be happy with it.
Right, that's like an 11 or 12-year warranty. Anything that goes wrong with it, they fucking replace it for free. It's amazing.
Yeah. I thought it was a lot of hype before I did end up because anytime I'd be looking online, everyone's like always talking about like Herman Miller is the way to go, and I was like, oh.
Not just Herman Miller, just a ergonomic chair. I long for the day these cringy racer chairs die out, man, because they're shit for us. They're car seats, man. They're car seats. The trend should be ergonomic chairs.
I had a couple of them.
Chairs like Herman Miller.
I had a couple of them car seats. They were all like cheap $10 ones though. Not spectacular at all.
Right, when you go to high-end offices and places like that, they're all sat on ergonomic chairs or Herman Millers. They're not in car seats, you know. It's true though, bro.
Yeah,
true.
No, you're right.
They're dreadful.
That's something that they had at. After this, let's actually get back on the topic. But
sorry.
The like the offices that we have that are connected to us, they like their dispatch center. They got these like super. I don't know the type of chairs that they were, but they were like $2,000 per chair, and it was something about like it's cheaper for them to buy like a $2,000 chair, and get like these really expensive standing desks than it is to not have an ideal ergonomic situation, and then all of a sudden someone sues because of the workplace conditions.
Yeah.
Destroy my body, but I don't know what. But
tax write-off too.
I don't.
Maybe.
I don't know if the government can do a tax write-off. I'm not sure. But Rig, what would you say your biggest strength and weakness is as a player?
Biggest strength. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a strength. Most of RuneScape players have it, but just solid dedication is my strength. It's always been my strength. My biggest weakness, I guess this is purely to do because I'm a streamer, bro, but performance anxiety. Any content that I've not done before, I have a real hard time sinking my teeth into it. Just get really nervous. Yeah, performance anxiety, bro.
I would say, like, for me, my biggest strength is probably, I wouldn't say now because I'm certainly not in shape right now, like runes. I see that like fucking fitness, like RuneScape shape, but I would say like consistency, because I played around like 40 to, I mean, it was probably between like 45 to 55 hours a week for 8.5 years. And although like I did try to be not all skills, but I did try to be fairly efficient. It was more so the consistency was why I was able to get 200 mil all, and like being able to multitask, whether it be playing other accounts or like, I mean, I played a lot on mobile as well. So I'd just say like is consistency to the grind. That would take biggest weakness. After trying my hand in a few areas of the game and having done Desert Treasure 2 a couple, maybe about a month ago or so at this point, I'd definitely say, I mean, I know that I can't PvP at all, but I would like to work on getting better at PVMing.
All right.
No, I think I'm next. Yeah, for me, I would say biggest strength is like I'm like okay at micro, and my biggest weakness I would say is like just like unwillingness to adapt. Like I absolutely should make some RS3 alts because they're just so much better for GP and shit, but I just don't like it. Like should have done services back when they were allowed. Didn't want to like. And I have nothing against people who do. Or who did and stuff. But I respect it and acknowledge that it's just a better way to play. But I just like am kind of too stuck in my ways, I think. And then I'm also like sometimes just get pretty inconsistent. But yeah.
All right, my turn, I guess. I would say my biggest strengths would be, I guess, being a NEET.
The big
I'm
strength.
sorry. That was fun. Go ahead.
The dream.
I've always kind of played a lot and been able to play a lot without getting too bored or not wanting to play. Like, I mean, but in the past, it's just been like casual methods. Like, I remember doing a 5 mil mining month at MLM, a 4 mil rune crafting week or 5 mil mining week at MLM, a 4 mil rune crafting week at Zaya Bloods.
I can smell this. I can just smell it.
But it's like 100-hour casual methods, so I've always kind of been able to put in those hours, but sort of recently, I guess in the past year and a half or so, I've been getting more into more efficient skilling, and yeah, that's really helped me. And I'd say my weaknesses are when I'm not in a good life situation to really play a lot, I feel very unmotivated because seeing a lower number on the temple page or whatever, or my total XP or whatever going up slower just feels bad and kind of feels like a waste of time. So I just kind of preoccupy myself with other things. But when I'm able to play a lot, then I'm usually pretty consistent as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and I'm terrible at anything that has to do with combat. Like, I died while doing the bar crawl thing, like last year.
How? Hold on. How?
I was looking at the wiki page or something, and I either talked to the wrong barbarian or he just randomly started attacking me and he killed me in like 4 hits, so I died.
Bro, that's not really PVM because you can't call it
Hey, in some scale it is.
Oh shit.
Dude, that's up there with like sick nerd dying from a fucking camel.
Oh man, good times. Holy shit.
You know, he's made a new hardcore.
Yeah. Fat Pear 7,
Yeah,
I think is the name.
right. I recently found out about it and I just binged it and I'm all caught up now, so really enjoying that series. Would be great to have him on the cast sometime.
Yeah, I had been talking to him probably about like a month ago. I was actually trying to get him and Rig on one together, but yeah, he was pretty busy, or maybe he's just teasing me.
We seen each other about a month ago. He came to Manchester and we all went for dinner. Me, Boti, Signerd, and lots of. He's doing great in real life, man. He's doing great. You know, married, got a beautiful house, looks really healthy these days. You know, I'm really happy for Adam. Signerd.
That's good.
Great.
Here. If you happen to see him, ask him if he's gonna be coming on one of the pods. You boys can come on together.
Sure, yeah, bro. But Randy, one last thing.
I'll see if I can get Trickle as well. See if we can get like almost like replicate like a 2015 podcast.
Bro, would you believe it? I bumped into Trickle like a year ago, Randy, in
Really?
Manchester. Yeah. He was with out on the streets. Yeah, he came up to me and he was with a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a nice little quick catch up for like 5 minutes. It was wild. My first time seeing him in real life.
Did he say, hey, it's Trickle?
No. He didn't. He didn't
with his actual name.
No, he walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, Rig," and I was like, "What's up, Trick?"
Shit.
I just knew
just
it was straight
knew?
away. I knew, but bro, we spoke a lot back in the day on
I
TeamSpeak.
know,
I
but
just
I'm saying, like,
I
that's
I
pretty
clocked his
awesome.
voice. I clocked his voice instantly.
That's incredible.
What's up, Trey? How you doing, bro? Can I just say though before we move on, my third skiller, I forgot to say my third skiller, bro. Trance music, Randy. The dude was
Yeah.
an animal in his prime, fucking animal. You remember the RC mumps he used to do?
Oh yeah, he was the first one to do like 500 plus
five.
month. He was the first person to do a 5K or a 5,200 a year.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he,
That dude was a beast.
He was very far ahead. Like there are people that have put up similar numbers since then, but like doing different methods and everything like that. But like he, for the people that weren't around like 8 years ago or so, like that man was like, you just accepted that he was the best clicker and grinder, like the combination.
Bro, I remember he used to live off cereal sometimes. I mean, I'm just talking out the box, no milk.
Yeah.
He would snack on it.
Saltines would be another big one. He'd eat a sleeve, and that would be his meal.
Damn, that's my
What?
Yeah.
that's my next question to answer.
Yeah, the dude had no life in his fucking eyes. I do remember that, bro. Trance, he had that empty fucking 1,000-yard stare, bro. All he cared about was the XP boy, nothing else.
Yeah,
Gotta respect it.
Last thing on trans here is I remember there was one point when I was like reviewing the old podcasts. There was something that came up, and he knew like, and it was some kind of like RuneScape. I don't know what it was. It was some kind of RuneScape something.
Yeah.
And no one else knew anything about this, but he knew everything there was to know about it, and it had nothing to do with skilling or anything like that. And someone was like, "How do you know all this stuff?" And he was like, and he said something along the lines of like, "I play this game 110 hours a week. I have literally nothing better to do." So he just like watches and listen to everything that there was. It was some kind of lie. It was like I literally have nothing better to do. Was like what he said.
Bro, Randy, I don't know if you remember or if this stood out, but he had a very peculiar sneeze. Can you remember his sneeze, Randy?
I don't remember what it sounded like, but yeah, it was.
Bro, it was something like.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what the fuck was that, Trance? And he was like, I sneezed.
Yeah.
Right? It sounded like a dying giraffe or something, man. Yeah.
All right. So next one we got is it's from Dan. Is what is your favorite piece of gameplay advice that has ever been given to you from a fellow RuneScape player?
This was kind of interesting actually. It's like there was one time where I was like very new to scaling. I was like fire making at the Grand Exchange, and actually Dan came up to me, like the one who submitted the question. He told me to join Hexis.
Well, that's certainly a good piece of advice.
Yeah, ever since I joined Hexis, I just like was scaling like a lot more seriously. So, for better for worse, that's probably advice.
For me, like kind of already like literally just talked about it, but like I remember listening to those Hexis podcasts and hearing Trance talk about the saltine crackers. So like for like at least like 3 or 4 30 hours that I've done, like I've just had saltine crackers because it was so efficient. That was a good piece of advice for sure. And then I don't know, probably it's more of like a tip, but like JWet was kind of helping me out learning 1.5 teaks with like one of the transitions. So that was some nice advice.
I've been trying to think of a solid answer for this for a while, so my answer might be a little vague here, but one of my friends, the bad ideas ages ago, really pushed me to understand ticks in the game. I think that's pretty generic to say, but like anybody that really wants to get better at the game, I mean, not just skilling, but like really understanding the depth of like anything you're doing tick-wise, even if it seems insignificant, is really good. And like with that being said, I think you can apply this to like pretty much anything in life. But like if you think you know everything, or even if you think you know enough, like keep looking, and you're just gonna get even better, even if you don't think you will.
Yeah, one of the thing. So when I was going for 200 mil all, a good amount of people know this, but like I had a spreadsheet on like pretty much everyone that was projected to finish between like 15 and like 35 or so. And it wasn't just based on EHP because, you know, there's different methods that people were doing. Some people would be doing like 4 runners for, some people do 4 runners for rune crafting. Some people would be doing like granite. Some people would be doing volcanic mine. You know, agility. Some people would be doing rooftops. Some wouldn't. So like, I pretty much came up with like what was like a real EHP or like real hours gained progress type thing, just because I was probably in like 2018, 2019, I started getting pretty concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get top page. So I was wanting to see like, all right, what's it going to take for me to be able to make sure, like, do I have to change anything of what I'm doing to still make sure that I'm able to lock in top page? And I would say that like eventually I reached a point to where like I knew that I was going to be top page, and I didn't check shit about shit for months, and that to me was so much of a relief. And so like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily something that any advice that someone gave to me. It was just kind of something that I just stumbled across on my own. Just stop comparing yourself to other people. Play the game to have fun. You know, yeah, you know, clans have their short competitions and things like that, and that's, you know, healthy and fun for those durations that there are. But from a overall standpoint, just stop comparing yourself to other people, the progress that they make and what it is compared to you. Play the game to have fun, and, you know, your progress will take care of itself.
Yeah, nothing really comes to my head when it comes to advice from other players. I remember a long time ago, someone said to me, "Practice makes better, not perfect." And I've always appreciated that. That's about it, really. Can't remember.
I have a couple. So the first one would probably be from mid-level Skilla. He is a level 3 free-to-play Ultimate Iron Man that probably has the most hours logged, at least from 2015 or 16 onwards, when free-to-play was released permanently. And he says, we were having a conversation about burnout, and he says that just having a routine of logging in every day is easier. It's easier to just keep going than it is to restart if you end up stopping. Like it's easier to just keep the momentum that you've got and just keep going and go as long as you can. And that's it, because if you stop, then you're gonna have to relearn like all of the, you know, there's just like a lot that you'd have to relearn, like even just mouse movement and clicking, you'd have to relearn all of that.
Yeah, I get rusty pretty easy. I do if I'm away for like a week. So I hear you on that one.
Yeah, like I haven't properly skilled in a couple years now that I got 200 mil all, and I'd say that, you know, aside from like, you know, like 2-tick woodcutting, I'd be just fine at, but like, you know, like there are some other tick manipulation methods that I'm sure I would absolutely struggle on.
Yeah, sorry for speaking over you, Plundering. I just wanted to say that, but yeah.
My second was from someone named Strong Autism, aka Danish Demon. He was a fellow level 3, pretty sweaty, kind of hardcore into the high level community thing, or he was at least, and I guess he was just observing my playstyle, and a long time ago he just told me that I should stop worrying about GP as much, because with the way I was playing, it would just be best to do like solo mods, and then only have to make an average of 400k per hour on and off while I'm playing on the level 3 in order to fund the rest of my 200 mil skills. Rather than, like trying to manage as many accounts as I can, playing 12 alts or whatever. I'm just not really good at multitasking that well, so I try to only have one or maybe 2 alts at a time. So, yeah. Just
one of the
like
many reasons I started an Iron Man was, you have to worry about GP. Sorry, Plundering.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, I guess I just needed a different perspective and to adjust my expectations was really good advice, and that has helped me so much.
All right. So now we got moving on to Perilous Moons. So from the post that they had, they're going to be coming out with these 3 demi-bosses with the idea that they can be fought by multiple people at the same time. They cannot be killed as a player, and your job is to distract them to ensure they remain contained within a temple. The post states defense is the post offense, and they will be introducing some never-before-seen mechanics. How do you think something unique like this will be received?
This, I feel like, is easy to say this. Obviously, it's either going to be really good or really bad. I'm very open to this, actually. I like how they're trying to approach different aspects of the game like this. It's cool. It's a cool idea, but I don't know if I really like as much of how they're presenting it. Like Randy, I think you'll agree with me. I don't even know if this specific topic here, this specific thing should be like something they test, but I wish they would be able to like test more things with community players more, like when you were even saying how, I don't know, did you get flown out or well, just like when they actually used to like fly people out to Jagex. I mean, not even saying they need to do that, but it just seemed way more engaging. And I wish when they were because they even admit in this, like they even said in the question, this is something very new. I just wish they seemed a little more eager to show people what it's all about, because for me, I'm trying to be a little more optimistic about this game, but I'm also on the side where Forestry wasn't too great. Not that we need to get all on that, but it's like,
oh my god, yeah.
I would like to see some other things fall in order before we take a big leap like this. But again, I do want to stress, I think it can be good.
So the demi-bosses of the Perilous Moons, it's mostly like mid-level, like niche gear sets, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely like aimed to be more mid-level from what I was reading.
I'm just doing some quick checking. Just wanted to look at like the stat requirements and stuff.
Yeah, so like when they, and we'll get into talking about like the stat stuff for it, but they posted some stuff. There's 3 different sets that they have for it. One like focused on magic, one focused on range, one on magic. And like when I saw them posted on Twitter, the feedback was pretty brutal. Here's one thing: like was the Perilous Moons, was this on their and I'm asking because I don't remember, was this on the roadmap that they had?
No, it was not. Unless this is Varlamore, I guess it kind of is.
I was gonna say, I think they would kind of group it in with something a little more vague.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I don't know, as you're looking on that Plundering, and so like I think that coming out with new ideas is I mean I shouldn't say good, because Forestry again was a new idea, but I think having attempting a new mechanic isn't a bad idea, and I mean, like, again, like I talked about it like in the introduction for the podcast. I feel like there's just way too much going on right now that this kind of seems unnecessary. But, I mean, I don't see anything for me that like I'm not seeing any red flags from like what I have reviewed on this so far. So I think that implementing new mechanics is interesting because with how relatively simple the game is, and I mean, like we can see how much they've expanded on PVMing mechanics. It's interesting, yeah, for like such a simple game, how much they've been able to expand, and I'm curious to see what kind of skill it will take to be able to handle the new mechanics.
On the blood rage, well, actually, you said we're going to talk about more about this sets later, but yeah, the original question was, what was the original question?
How do you think something unique like this will be received? Like referring to the never before seen mechanics, and that your goal is to not even kill them, just to distract them.
I don't know about distracting them. Well, it really depends on how they implement it. Like, if it kind of makes sense, like, I'm not sure how I could give an example of how it would make sense, but, like, if there were, like, some type of environmental type thing that would then kill the demi-bosses by you outlasting the boss long enough for whatever was set up so that they could then be killed, I guess that could make sense. It would seem kind of similar to like a skilling boss, but skilling bosses also don't really involve any HP or anything, so I mean, I guess it could work, but I don't know. It really depends on how they balance it, really. And avoiding making things too complicated for newer players. Because I feel like overwhelming players with too many different options can be a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah, like I think that is interesting, and like I do like though, because like from what I understand, it's like you guys are saying, like mid-level. I will like it shouldn't have to be this way, but like knowing how much shit comes out that's just not tested, at least if they're trying out new mechanics, it's not supposed to be like the
Something that
top
makes
tier
20
rewards.
an hour.
Yeah, it's the highest level content. Yeah, like I like it's like basically just gonna be a beta test, but at least it's at mid-level content. Like I think that's a good way to introduce it, because then if it works well, they can probably utilize it with higher level content down the road. But it's better to introduce it as mid-level, since like we just get everything introduced essentially without any beta testing, it feels like most of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like with those 3 different reward sets, I'm curious, like where those will even be useful for, and like what kind of uses like will come from it. I don't know. I saw someone said that like some of the most upvoted response, and we'll move on after this, but like some of the feedback on Twitter was pretty brutal. Like some of the most upvoted responses were. And here's the thing, I don't know if it's changed in the last few days since they have been pumping out some like at the time that I put this together, like some of the most upvoted comments were like criticizing a new defender that is a mega buff and like further diminishes the scythe. The details are super complex. Some people saying that it looks like it belongs in another game, and that there's just way too many bloated items being added, that like a lot of it is unnecessary, was what the like top liked comments that I saw on Twitter were regarding the like the reward space with the different sets and stuff that they have for that. But another thing that's also going to be coming out, this one though looks like it might be a little bit better though, is the Fortis Colosseum. So from what they posted about, the Fortis Colosseum is Old School RuneScape's third wave-based mini-game, following the fiery footsteps of the Fight Caves and the Inferno. They advertised that it is also being highly repeatable PVM content with a high skill ceiling and a steep difficulty curve. So the big ticket untradeable reward is a new best in slot offering in your quiver slot. The quiver has the highest range attack bonus and can also hold at least 2 types of ammo. So, what do you think about the reward of the new, like their big reward for the ammo quiver?
I probably don't know enough about PVM to like make a great opinion on this, but I think it sounds cool. I think that the idea of a Coliseum is like a really cool concept for waves as a and then also just that like you had mentioned, that mechanic of like randomized waves and shit. Sounds like that'll be a pretty cool way to test like a higher skill set, because if you I guess it'll end, hopefully it's not just like some RNG where you just get lucky with like an easier wave, but
well, I think that there's going to be like a pause in between the waves, not like, whereas like the Inferno and Fight Caves are like they're going to be like different every time apparently.
Yeah, just I don't PVM nearly enough to I don't PVM at all, but nearly enough to have like a great opinion. But I think it sounds pretty fucking sick. But
yeah, I also think it sounds really cool, even though I'm probably not going to be able to do it because I'm bad. But yeah, like it's +2 range strength if it's charged, and that's like barely 1 or 2 max hits with the T-bow and max gear. And I think it actually makes the new best in slot ring actually worth getting because of the way max hits are calculated. So it'll be useful, and it also frees inventory slots for switching between the T-bow and the Zerite crossbow. So that's also like a really great quality of life. And you can also use it without having Dragon Slayer 2 done, but it just get the extra +10 or +20 ranged attack if it's charged, and the +1 or +2 range strength is added to the accumulator instead of the assembler if you don't have Dragon Slayer 2 done. So it's also a buff for like lower like different kind of builds for, I guess, PKing and stuff, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, like the skill ceiling thing, like, and the randomization thing sounds really cool. Like having a really high skill ceiling, it'll be really fun watching like the high level streamers and YouTubers attempting like trying to get the highest score. I think they're going to be calling it glory. It's going to be like the rating that it's going to be like a high scores on glory. And it's going to be cool seeing how high people can push that number. And also if people can even complete the waves in the first day or two, like with what happened with the Inferno.
Yeah, because I think it took Wooks like 4 days, 3 days.
Yeah, something like that. So, and that brings like a lot of hype to the game because, like, it just brings like good advertisement for the game, and that's always good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the update, and I think it's a good move.
But can I just quickly say, everything looks awesome, but the new range backpack, it requires charges, and I've noticed that the Jagex have been really focusing on chargeable shit recently, especially in forestry, right?
It doesn't
Like half
have,
the
it doesn't have to be charged. It can be uncharged, and you get a +1 ranged and +10 ranged attack. And if it's charged, you get a +2 and +20.
you get the full benefits if it's fully charged, right? In order for it to
Yeah.
be best, it needs to be fully charged. So it's going to
Yeah.
give people incentive to keep it charged, right?
Right.
I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think it's cool. I think it's like the Eladinus Ward and Missouri. You can wear it without it being charged or upgraded at lower stats and get a lower benefit, and it's still best in slot, but not. It's second best in slot, but it's best in slot over what was previously best in slot. So it's still better, but not as great as it could be when it's uncharged. And I think that's great. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
solid.
That way you can not grind the chargeable shit, and you don't have to feel like obligated to do all that shit if you don't want to. But if you can if you want to, and everybody's getting like more DPS, so everybody's happy, and there's not really a concern there for me.
I mean, at the same time though, like this just seems like a high level reward, which means the people using it are going to be high level PVMers. That sounds like a pain in the ass if you're to charge it all the time to me, but I don't know. I don't really care too much, I guess. But like if you're like top level PVMing, and you're not going to want to settle for like second rate, so then it just feels, I would feel like it would be a chore.
Yeah,
personally.
that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
They just have to have the charge cap be like really high. Oh, and they also mentioned making it corruptible, so that's also.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I forgot about that part.
Oh, sweet.
I think everything looks really good with it. They've had a lot of updates that I've had some skepticism of prior to release, but this is one of the ones that I have a lot of confidence in that they'll do to a very high level. I think that the Inferno is one of the best updates that they've ever come out with.
I agree.
In the history of the game, and I think like Kieran had a whole lot to do with that. I'm sure I don't know if how involved he's gonna be in this. I'm sure he'll be quite involved with it. But I have a lot of faith in this being done really well. Obviously, I'm not some big-time PVMer. I'm only rank 1 in one of the PVM bosses. But I don't remember the last time they've come out with like a big PVM update that has like not been good. They tend to kind of hit on most all PVM updates that they come out with. And this being such a important, I would say, part of this Varlamore expansion. I think that they're going to do really well with this. I'm excited to see how it's going to go. And I think that, having it be a quiver slot, they definitely talk to some like real big time PVMers, I feel, to be able to come up with that as something as opposed to just like a new cape, which would have been in line with the fight caves and the Inferno, just like upgraded version of what was already in the game. So I think that this is really good. The new best in slot for the quiver, and then also it being able to act as the being able to carry multiple ammo types. Yeah, like when Plundering was mentioning like the T-bow to the Zarate crossbow switch. Yeah, from the PVMing that I had done a couple weeks ago. That was one of the things that did kind of suck as I was doing some bossing, was switching between the two and being able to have that a little quality of life type thing. But with how difficult this is going to be, it's not like it's going to be a huge benefit to the guys that are that good at PVMing in the first place. But I really like what they're doing with this. Just kind of really everything involved with the Fortis Colosseum, big support.
This is, for me, a really good opportunity to kind of restore some faith in me. Again, I am trying to have a lot of optimism with this update. I think they can do it good. This is kind of a new team, though, in a sense. Chambers, Inferno, Tob, all that stuff was done in a different time period. So if they do this good, I think for myself and a lot of people, this would restore a lot of faith in them. As far as some of the other bosses that have come out recently, I'm not saying they're bad, but I don't know, they're definitely not up to par with like some of the PVM that I really enjoyed, like when Chambers was out, Tom, I mean, to compare that stuff and like some of the Desert Treasure 2 stuff or even Toa, it's very, very hard. So I hope they make this really difficult. Because this also comes on to my next subject. I wish they would kind of also stray away from range strength as much. Not saying that obviously the game doesn't need to progress, but I wish more people could appreciate other small things that pieces of content could give. The attack bonus and like the 2 types of ammo being held, I think can be a very good perk in itself, but people are just so used to everything needing strength bonus in a sense to where it's like, just, I don't think people realize like how powerful range really is. I mean, Rigger's been in game for so long, and again, like that's just so busted and crazy to think that came out when it did. And then we just have this progression that continued with range strength. So again, ultimately, I am very supportive of this. I hope it's great. I don't know. I just really hope they do it right. That's all I want to say.
Alright, first of all, like, what's the incentive with this, like, 2 different arrows, 2 different ammo? Like, what would that be used for?
So, like I was kind of explaining before, like if you were to use a twisted bow and a Zarite crossbow, you have to switch your ammo types to be able to use that Zarite crossbow spec. You won't need to switch your ammo now.
They get it next, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I personally, I just like, okay, I hear you guys really like this, but personally, like, it reminds me a lot of Inferno, which is stated, and like, I'm not a fan of Inferno.
Why?
The way with all these like cape buyers and everything, I think it's like insanely bad for the game. And I think this is like RWT, so like super happy with this, obviously, because they're just gonna like, get these like capes for people, and then like RWT the GP, like Inferno capes, and I just don't think it's good for the game. I really don't. It's just.
I feel like that is
such a
inevitable, though.
I think that's such a small element.
No,
of the
but
game.
you look at like how many people buy Infernal capes. Like, what's that? Like 50% at least.
I don't know. I mean, of the people with 200 mil all, there's one person that did, but
I think
excluding like the rewards, isn't like they're gonna have like leaderboards and shit, right? So like time ranks, that's pretty cool, and like you're not gonna. I don't think people would buy like a rank in that, so I think that'll be cool, like no matter what.
Yeah, and also like this like range shoulder been strong enough and everything. Like, I don't know, I'm not a fan at all.
It's been like 6 years since Inferno came out. Like it's been a good amount of time. I think it's
A
not.
long time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think that just because there's cheaters in the game that we should.
But I tell you what. Okay.
That we should avoid adding fun content for.
I agree.
Legitimate.
I 100% agree too.
I agree.
Okay,
There
but
is cheaters in every aspect of the game.
If they're gonna add it, I think they need to like force, because Jagex account isn't forced, right? You don't need Jagex account to play the game, right?
They're making it that way.
Eventually.
If
Mandatory
they
eventually.
Soon.
for this update and like really ban the cheaters, I think it's fine. Because like with Jagex account, it's really easy to spot cheaters, I think. So if they force Jagex account before this, I think it's fine.
Really easy to spot cheaters, did you say? I think half the game bots right now.
Like with Jagex account, it's easy, right? Because like if you log in someone else's account, it's not on your Jagex account, so it should be easy to spot.
I remember hearing
I'm
like
sure
one of the
they
mods
figured
say
out
he thought
somewhere
that-
that.
Yeah, I thought like ones of Jagex accounts were like mandatory. Thought it'd be easier to detect bots. I think I heard somewhere.
Oh, well, like recently
But the
they
thing
just.
with Jagex accounts, right? Let's say you detect a bot, like a bot farm of 20 accounts, because it peaks at 20 accounts, which is good for bots because they have more than 20 accounts, right? But you see like one account botting, you can span all 20 instantly, right? Like if they make it really strict, where like if someone bots, just ban all accounts on Jagex account. Like I think they'll like eliminate bots. Like just perma-ban all accounts instantly.
They always find a way, though, brother.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Bot makers always find a way.
Jagex is making bank off those people too, though.
Yep.
They don't want to ban them all.
Yeah.
You actually make a fair point there. I can see the definitely makes money there.
I hate
And
it.
also
but,
keeps
you
up
know,
the player
no
count,
doubt.
right?
Let's make Jagex bank.
Yeah,
Absolute bank.
millions.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that, but
Yeah.
if they really wanted to with Jack's account, I definitely think they could like ban bots really easily.
I wish they would take a little more action in the hot, because like Seb, you do bring up a really good point. I mean, I don't think there's any cold cut solution here, but like if they took a little more action to ban like more of the high level content, that would be really nice. Because me personally, it's something that definitely deterred me from that aspect of the game. Not that I don't still enjoy it, but that's pretty much all I used to do is PVM way back when.
Okay. So
Yeah.
moving on the next topic for the Fortis Colosseum, we got some of the additional rewards that they're going to be having. One's a charged range weapon that drains the target's defense by 20% of their magic level. Some Sunfire Fanatic armor, which will be the best in slot prayer gear, an upgrade, and a new Sunfire Dust and runes. So, what do you think of the other content rewards that are being offered from the Fortis Colosseum?
These I feel like I'm a little more wary of. Like sounds like it could be like I don't know. Maybe I just don't know. I didn't read enough about the Sunfire runes and shit, but like I could just see it. It sounds like it's just really meta changing with a lot of that stuff. Or I mean, like the runes. I don't know enough about PVM for some of the other things, but I think the upgraded proselyte idea is a good thought, in my opinion. Like it'd be kind of nice at Vires. Love that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool idea. I know they in like the most recent poll they like shifted the benefits of that armor a little bit. They're like have like the either or, and I'd probably prefer the upgraded proselyte.
Just because they say this is a little more Inferno-like, I think it's a little odd that they have so many things coming from it. Not too big like on the runes and like I think there was like a bow or something too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, okay, I'm reading it now.
Charged range weapon.
And like I don't know, I'm not too big on that stuff, but I just think it could be better in other aspects of the game rather than trying to seemingly cram everything in here. I mean, when it comes out, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it will seem a little more in place, but I like, for example, the upgraded proselyte. Awesome idea, but it seems a little weird that it's coming from a place like this claiming that it's Inferno like. But
yeah, that's a good point for sure.
I think the ranged weapon is kind of cool because it lowers the target's defense by 20% of their magic level. So basically, if the T-bow is good there, then this won't be good at that boss. And for the Sunfire Dust and Runes, I think that's cool because that's like 10% minimum hit, I think, was the effect that you could give the Tome of Fire. You made the burnt pages into searing pages, and then you'd get a 10% minimum hit on the I guess whatever fire spell you're casting. So that's pretty nice. I don't think that's a huge meta changer or anything. But the only problem would be like what the process of creating the runes would be, I guess. And yeah, also buy burnt pages because yeah, pro merch advice right there.
All right. Go ahead.
Firstly, I kind of like this though, because like for those who like actually doesn't cheat, you can now make money here, right? So you don't just get the cape and then leave the place forever. You can actually, like, if you enjoy the content, you can stay. And I'm assuming these other items are tradables. Like, it's actually
Yeah,
go for
that's-
quite a bit. You
that's
can
why
actually.
That is a
That's why they
great
tried to
point,
say that
actually.
like highly repeatable PVM content.
That is a
Yeah.
good point. Okay, yeah, I'm glad you said that. That actually kind of changed my view a little bit on it.
Yeah, it's like if you really enjoy the content, now you actually get rewarded for doing it. So I think that's great.
And if they do it right too, because like I don't know, it is like Inferno is basically just a money sink in a sense, you know.
Are they adding a pet to this as well, or no?
I
I
didn't
would
read
assume.
anything.
Yeah, I don't remember reading anything either like that. I would assume they would though for something high level like that.
That's usually what they just do. Just add a pet to give us a reason to the content.
Yeah, anything to make Casey keep grinding.
All right. So it sounds like it's going to be even more difficult than the Inferno based on what they're saying. Are you going to be attempting this? And also, just additionally, like, have you tried the Inferno? How have you fared there? If you've tried.
No, I'm not going to attempt it. Most likely. I've never tried Inferno, and I've only successfully gotten a fire cape once, and that was with the pre-nerf blowpipe. So, no.
110% I will. I'm very excited again for this if they do it right. I have fared very well with the Inferno in the past. Originally, it took me a very long time to really grasp it, but I've done Rune Crossbow, Infernal Capes. I've done,
Successfully?
T-bow capes. Oh yeah, multiple times. But I think for this, sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. There was one other thing I wanted to say. If I can think of it, I'll come back to it. I'm kind of blanking, but yeah, I'm very excited for this. I hope they do it right.
I probably won't be attempting it. I'd be shocked if I did. I've really only attempted the Inferno a couple times, and never once did I ever attempt it with any plans of progressing in any kind of capacity. I've never watched a guide or anything on it either. I think I got to like wave 7 or something like that, and then died. Although maybe as sailing development goes on, I might get an Inferno cape just in case having a. And I mean, I guess that could then maybe apply to this, and that matter is like I don't know, like there could be potential that having that untradeable best in slot item could be beneficial to have as part of sailing. Unlikely, but maybe. But I don't know. We'll see as the development before it goes.
I did remember what I was going to say really quick as well. Very excited to see because Inferno pushed a lot of people. So I'm very curious to see what level this will push people to if it's capable of. Like the Inferno has molded a lot of things in this game that I don't think a lot of people even realize, like just understanding mechanics from certain things like that. So I think a lot of people should be excited for stuff like that.
Yeah, Inferno definitely transforms a player, doesn't it? By the time they've got the cape, they become a different PVMer.
Even learning it, I mean, there's so much in there that you can put in every part of the game. I mean,
many attributes, go into the Inferno. Understanding of your surroundings, reactions, prayer management, keeping control of your emotions. So much goes into achieving an Infernal cape, which I've come to realize.
Yeah, personally, never really tried Inferno. Like, I did it a bit on release, but like nothing like anywhere near close to completion at all. And I mean, after all, if I want to keep playing the game, I'll have a lot of time, so I can see myself attempting this at some point for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never tried the Inferno. Had absolutely no reason to, but I'm really excited to try it though. I want to do it. Like I want to learn that content. Like when I get to Slayer, so after Gathers, so I'm pretty excited to try it, and I'll probably try this as well if the rewards are like worth it for what I would do.
Cool.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a shot. sometime in the future. Inferno, I attempted it 5 times on my main and got to wave 50 plus every time. My PB was wave
That's good shit.
59. Yeah. And
Nice.
the reason why I stopped, performance anxiety. When you stream it, fuck me, it feels different. When you have like
Oh, I
300
totally
plus
imagine.
people.
Have you tried
Bro,
without streaming?
No, because obviously content like that, you want to stream it, Randy, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, especially being full-time, but my God, does it feel different? Well, I've never tried it off stream, but it must feel different, right? When you've got like 300 plus people watching your every fucking move. Performance anxiety got
backseat gaming.
I welcome that though, because I have a lot to learn about the Infernal, bro. But yeah, performance anxiety got in the way, and then I just went back to getting 200 mil Slayer. To be fair though, proper best in slot gear was not my priority back then. It was 200 mil Slayer. I'm an Iron Man though, whole different story. My aspirations is to get better at the game. I don't want to stay shit. So I will definitely be giving Inferno another crack on my Iron Man.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of my primary goals.
Is there any gear that you're going to try to get first before further attempting it?
Yeah, I'm going for Bofa Inferno, so I need the Bofa. I want Rigor, Augury, and probably the Ancient Scepter, and then attempts will start on the roll.
Oh, good
What
luck with
about
that.
the Saturated Heart?
Bro, getting that on an Iron Man could take like a year plus. It could take a long time. It helps, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's necessary.
I probably just get like 99 magic through Slayer, and if you don't get it, then just do it anyway. And if you get it,
I'm maxed.
Oh,
no,
never mind then.
Wait, is the Octave worth like a brew?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But it could take forever on an Iron Man just for this little buff for the Inferno. I just don't really think it's worth my time. But what do I know?
I think the brew is more worth it, especially if you're learning. I mean, not hard to do, but it's not really gonna carry you through anything.
For sure, man. You just want to go as deep as you can, right, and learn more.
Yeah, everybody always says like the most you can learn out of it's the best as you go, even if you lose. Use all your brews of it.
That's right.
You have the Rune Pouch, the Divine one?
I do.
Nice.
Yep. That's a must, bro. That's so nice.
Oh yeah.
I need to get that.
It's so good, Randy. Life changing.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, we got the Jagex Launcher, Jagex accounts. They had some news posts about like Cybersecurity Month, and I'm also going to be referencing like some Jagex account posts that they had in July. But for the Jagex accounts, Jagex Launcher thing, they had a beta that came out in March. So as we were talking about it, just did you participate in the beta before it becomes it's going to be mandatory soon, but did you participate in the beta before it became mandatory for the accounts? If so, what did you think about it during the initial process? In their post in July, they stated 84% of players with a Jagex account stated that they had a positive experience. If you did use it, are you part of that 84%? What kind of feedback would you have?
No, I did not use it. I feel like I've heard somewhat mixed things, but recently I've heard like a lot more positive than negative. So, yeah, I guess we have more questions about it later. So, yeah, I've heard kind of mixed things, but like I said, mostly good.
I didn't participate either, so I'll be brief when I say this. The only thing I have heard problem-wise is people that if the account, if their account they've had for a long time, but like say like a friend of theirs gave it to them a long time ago, I've heard that there's issues with like account recovery like that. But other than that, I really haven't heard any, bad things about it or anything.
No, I didn't participate in the beta before it became mandatory. And what was the other part of the question?
Well, if you didn't participate in it, then then the rest of it doesn't really matter.
All right, never mind.
I didn't participate in the beta, but nah, so far so good, brother. I think Jagex has done a cracking job so far with Jagex account, Jagex client. It's great stuff, and it's about time.
Can you talk a little bit more about it? Because I've not really been involved in any of it, and I've
Not
been
even the
hesitant.
Jagex client, the launcher.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Randy, bro, it's so good.
The launcher's amazing.
The launcher's fucking
Yeah,
incredible.
account.
Yeah, like Randy, you can have like 15 different accounts on the launcher. You don't have to type in your fucking Jagex password. It launches RuneLight. It's great. You need to get it, brother. Great shit.
The only problem I have with it is on my taskbar, it has them all under one icon, so I have to click it, and then it brings up the menu bar thing for each account instead of having like 3 different icons for 3 accounts or whatever.
So, like, what if someone's does it make, like, I'm sure the answer is no, but like, you know, I've got so many different accounts, even like, and I've created them, they're mine and they're fine. But like, if someone were to hack one of my alts, would they get access to my main? Like, how does that, like, because I almost feel like if that's the case, like, would I potentially be more vulnerable?
I don't think they can even hack just one alt.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know shit.
I don't know shit about security.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I
you'd
mean,
have
with the
because you'd
launcher,
have
you sign in with
you'd
all
have-
the individual accounts, but with the
you'd
Jagex
have-
accounts, I don't know.
Yeah.
you'd have your master password for all of them, and then you'd have your individual passwords, which you only log in once. So if you just change it before you log in, and then just like log in and kind of write it down, put it somewhere in a safe somewhere, then you log into the Jagex account or launcher or whatever, and then you can just not know it, nobody else would know it, and there's not any way for them to do it unless there's a problem with the Jagex account, I think.
Okay.
Highly recommend it, Randy. Like, if I want to switch between, I only play one account, but let's say if I wanted to log on to my main, I just literally click the name, bang, log in. Just because it's all unified, it's linked. I can seamlessly switch between my main and my Iron Man if I want to. It's incredible. No passwords, no bullshit, no authenticator.
Okay. All right. So in one of their posts that they had about it, they said that the Jagex accounts allow for more complex passwords, being able to use special characters and capital letters, linking all your accounts together. Those are a couple of the benefits. So, you guys have talked a little bit about it so far, but can you talk a little bit about some of the positives and negatives that you've experienced or seen so far?
Some downsides would be I can't flame people on alts, because then if that gets muted, then my main could get muted. That's pretty much it. Or like if you get a false spin, I guess, like that'd be pretty shitty, losing all of your accounts. But that's only if they actually start like giving those punishments like to all accounts or all characters linked in an account. That's pretty much all the downsides that I could think of, potential downsides.
Onyx, anything?
Oh shit! Sorry, I thought there was somebody before me. Yeah, I've heard mostly good things about it. I really, really hope that this also stops like cheat clients and things from being a thing. I mean, I swear I heard some JMod somewhere say that like that should be easier to detect. So that would be really great. I thought that there was somebody before me, so I was trying to look up this Twitter because somebody's tweet a while back, but I think that I heard something about like they somehow got like locked out of their altar or like one of their accounts because of after upgrading to the Jagex accounts, but I could be wrong. I'm misremembering it and wasn't able to find it off the rip. So, but mostly just heard good stuff about it. Yeah, that's about it.
Oh yeah, on the cheat client thing, I'm really hoping that will help, because I mean I'm sure it should, like, because you wouldn't be able to. I mean, you'd have to be using RuneLite or like OSHD, or the vanilla client. So yeah, should be fine, right?
That's how I would see it as well. Yeah.
And like just recently, they're making it so all new players who want to use the Jagex Launcher have to have a Jagex account. So that means that if people want to get like the convenience of using the launcher, then they're forced to have an account, which then allows them to like link you through other means, like in order to like it would be much easier for them to like catch people running massive bot farms, I assume, because you'd have to manage so many different accounts, and if they're logging in and out at the same IP, then I feel like that'd be very easy to track.
I think the complex passwords, being able to use special characters, I mean, everybody knows that's long overdue. It's really nice to see that finally. I haven't seen any direct negatives. The only thing that kind of worries me is because of how long this did take. I hope that they continue to keep up with how hackers will progress as well. Because I mean, to stop here and think that like, people aren't going to try to continuously get around things that they're doing, that's obviously not going to happen like that. So ultimately, I think it's really good so far. I just hope it continues that way and they continue to grow with any other problems that arise.
Yeah, like in the last blog, they said that like we had on the 7th, I think, that that they made it so that new players that want to use the launcher have to have an account, and then they're also going to make it so in a couple weeks or soon.
I think they said like near future.
Yeah, near future there's gonna be like another stage, and then there's gonna be another stage after that, and I think they're planning on rolling it out pretty quickly, because like we've only just gotten news about it in the past month, and then they've already rolled out like this last week, and they're planning on doing another one in the next couple weeks. So the progress is looking good on that front.
Yeah, I real quick, I do like that they're allowing you to have all these different special characters for passwords, and that, yeah, definitely long overdue. Drag made a point. I do actually have a little concern that they might not, like, once they do this, and obviously this has been a long process for them and they've put a lot of resources into it, are they going to upkeep anything with this, or is this just a like a one-time step in the like level that they just kind of make in terms of account security, or is this part of a greater regularity of account security? I don't know. I'm hoping that like it can cut down on the cheating, but go ahead.
Yeah, like, isn't account security, I don't think has really been that much of an issue, at least from people I know. Like,
no, I mean lately it's just been been alleged false bans.
Oh, right, but like
I don't know how that impacts.
That's like
if you get banned.
that's like that's like an anti-cheat thing, not a security thing.
Yeah.
But on the security part, like I don't really see because once you upgrade to a Jagex account, you basically delete any I believe that pretty much deletes any way of using the current recovery system in order to recover your account back. You just have like codes that you write down or download, and those are the only way that you can log into your account, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So that's like a really good step in the account security thing, because I mean, my account's like over 15 years old, so there's like a lot of stuff that people could find out about me online just through, I don't know, just whatever nerd shit people do now.
Your fans?
Yeah, sure.
I know you got a lot of those, Plundering.
Man.
Yeah, so moving on, one of the other things that they had was the community showcase post. And the community showcase post, to me, it looks like it's something that they've never done before, like to this extent. It opens up stating, "Welcome back to another community showcase." But I gotta tell you, I was looking around. I could not find that they had ever done anything like this before, ever. But, I mean, it looked pretty cool from it. It has like a community post bag, some player perspective Q&A, some video highlights from like 6 different people, some community achievements, and like some, Grand Exchange flips that people had. So apparently, like, people submit this to it, and then it's, like, I guess similar to like the Hexis newsletter that we do, but to a more wider extent, and it's not necessarily focused on specific updates, just more so community-wise stuff. So, if you had a chance to read this, and I got the link in there, what did you think about the community showcase post, and would you like to see more of these in the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure they used to do these, but they definitely did used to do these, but I'm pretty sure they just like started putting those in like a separate post that's not like broadcasted.
Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't find anything within the last few years when I was looking.
Yeah, but I'm glad they brought them back, and it's cool like getting the community to like put each other up instead of putting each other down is like always a good thing. And yeah, like the I like the like video highlights and the community achievements ones were my favorite ones, and the post bag one I just kind of like can't be asked and don't really care about the lore that much, so I just don't really read those.
XP waste.
I mean, I could read them, but it's just kind of boring and kind of cringe sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty cool. It was definitely a pleasant surprise seeing it, and I liked that they did it. Being able to highlight different things from the community is pretty cool, and it's definitely a different change of pace from most of the news posts that they have, which are just spammed with a bunch of updates that are impossible for even people that play every single day to keep up with on what's actually going on with the game. So I think that, yeah, having a community showcase post like this was a pretty good idea, and I hope that that's something that they continue to do every month moving forward. It seems like that's going to be the case based on what we'll talk about in the next question. But yeah, I thought that this was pretty well put together. And it had different, although you don't have to like everything that's on here, certainly I feel like looking at, like, there's something for everyone just looking at this. It's like a newspaper. You're not going to read every article from everything, but there are some things in there that are probably going to be appealing to you. What about you, Sebi?
Yeah, it's like one of those updates where it's like, I don't see how you can like dislike it really. It's like you read it or you don't read it, and it's like doesn't impact the game at all, and I just think it's It's just a good thing. Nothing negative with it.
I think it's an awesome thing too. I just want to get the one negative thing I want to say about this out the way before I go on like mostly other positives. I'm probably a little biased when I say this, probably because I'm a little older too, but just some of the ways they word stuff I think is a little cringe. I wish they would.
Is, like that was
Like,
one of the things that I
feel
noticed
I'm
reading, and I
reading it from a high
was,
schooler.
yeah, you know, like I think that that's actually a fair point.
Wait, sorry. What's cringe, sorry? Just got back from the toilet.
So I'm just saying, like, I think some of the ways they word things, again, I'm older, so I'm probably a little biased here, but I wish they would word things not so cringe and a little more not so high
Jagex.
schoolerish. Yeah, like some of their blogs,
Oh.
some of the wording is a little
Bro,
bit. But again, not that it matters, really.
It's typical English white dude humor. That's exactly what it is.
Is that what it is? Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Just nerdy white dude English humor. It's exactly what the Jagex shit is.
I'm just reading it, and it feels like too forced sometimes. But anyway, that's not the biggest deal that I was going to bring up. Ultimately, I think this is awesome, though. I wish they kind of kept up with more stuff like this because, as much as I like YouTube and stuff like that, I think it's a shame that the community spread so far from the actual website. I've always loved, like, the RuneScape forums back in the day. I think they could do so much with their website, but, the last thing I want to say, I also hate how you have to have Twitter basically to contact anybody. If they did more stuff with their website, I just think it's a way better look.
The thing is, though, why would anyone use the forums when we have things like Reddit and Twitter, unfortunately?
I mean, yeah, I just wish as far as like, because again, it's like you have to have a Twitter to communicate to them,
Sure. Yeah, sure.
The only reason why that's the only reason why I still keep mine. Like,
bro, if I wasn't a streamer, Randy, I'd have no social media whatsoever.
yeah,
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
It's the only reason I made an OSRS Twitter in the first place. Because of my false ban in October or November last year.
Did that get remedied?
Yeah, it did. After 30 days of daily tweets. Yeah.
You're fortunate, brother.
Yeah, and it wasn't even because of my tweets. Like, it was Larry.
Shout out.
They had recently gotten 200 mil all, and I guess they're pretty active in the community and talk with the JMods enough that they're. Anyway, they sent a DM to Tyrion on my behalf, and that was remedied within 2 hours of Larry saying that he DM'd him.
Well, God bless that dude, because false bans do happen, and unfortunately a lot of players that do get false banned get left in the dust.
Yeah.
And I'm just like really glad that I was able to get that fixed. That was not a good few weeks.
Yeah, fuck ups happen, man, and Jagex are good at fucking up.
I mean, like, before that happened, like, I'd always assumed that false bans are like a myth and people just...
Nah.
Like, everybody always, like, fudges the truth a little, or they're not telling the whole truth, or they're missing context and all that stuff. But then
what do you think triggered that false ban, Plundering?
So basically, I went from playing from around 10 a.m. through lunchtime, and then like taking a nap, and then playing till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
After
typical game a day, then.
Yeah, and within a week of me switching my schedule to waking up at 6 a.m. and playing like a couple hours more per day because I was trying to do a rune crafting month, and that's what basically triggered it. It was what I think.
Interesting.
But I'd already been rune crafting for like the past 80 mil rune crafting experience.
Oh,
that was all I was doing for the past like 3 months.
You just changed your times.
Yeah, and I
started playing.
Yeah, I just increased my playtime, and then it triggered a ban.
Oh, I see.
It was a 2-day, but Yeah.
How many hours a day was you playing when this force ban occurred?
Like 16, 17, maybe.
Yeah, that'll do it. Maybe, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I started the month with a 30-hour or two, because that's just the way you do it for me.
Yeah, Jagex would have looked at that like, well, he's fucking turned something on,
Yeah, and
popped program on.
the one good thing that did come out of it was recently there were some accusations about me botting some mining experience, and a couple people
Fans.
they tried to mention anti-cheat and asked them to look into my account because I'm definitely botting. And then a mod finally responded after I DM'd them on Twitter, and the mod responded and he's like, no, this player's not botting and he's been looked into before. So basically shutting them down. And
How good did that feel, Plundering?
that felt good because that was the first time that they'd actually acknowledged in public that they messed up with the original Frost ban. Because there was no like tweet or anything that they never replied to any of my tweets about like trying to appeal it, and they never sent me an inbox message. It was just,
Why would they? That's not being rude, by the way, bro. That's just how everybody gets treated by them. That try to appeal a false ban, etc.
Is it really that hard?
Randy?
Treated like trash.
Yeah.
Is it really that hard to copy paste a sorry? Here's a couple extra days of membership plus the days that you were banned for, and that's it. Like, it's just copy paste, do it, and you get like so many more loyal customers out of that.
I think that they probably look at their business model and see what has continuously been growth in the profit. So like, why do they need? Now, I shouldn't say that. I mean, the Jagex account stuff, from everything I hear from people, is good, and that's one of the things and the step in the right direction that they should be taking.
Yeah.
But, like, if you like, when you're evaluating a business, like, it doesn't, from the point that actually matters,
it's just short-term quarterly profits.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter how the community feels about the developer, the publisher. It doesn't matter how the community feels about the game. What matters, and the people that make the decisions, is how's the money looking? Because like, a lot of people, and think about that, like, for other like games and like other publishers, like, people hate EA Sport, or EA Electronic Arts. They don't get, and their community, or I shouldn't say community, their like, the way that they operate is money is the only thing that matters. Like, all the loot crates, microtransactions for like Ultimate Team, with FIFA and Madden, and that's just only two of what is many of their franchises. They don't give a shit that the community hates their practices. They don't give a shit that
They don't care.
No, they make money, so like, why should they adjust what they're doing? Like, there's no incentive to it. Now, like, we recently just saw like Activision Blizzard King get purchased for $69 billion from Microsoft, but like, $69 billion, like, it's good, that's something entirely different that we're talking here. We're not talking like short-term things. So like, if things are going to be changing with Activision Blizzard King, it's going to be because it's got new ownership and new management that has a different idea what they want that company direction to go into. But I mean, with the incumbent, and I mean, I know that Jagex has switched hands quite a bit, but like, the overall philosophy of business doesn't necessarily change. It's, how can we make money tomorrow? How can we make money next month? Not, how does the community view us? Like, it's very rare to find like a game developing company or anything like that that does actually care about that. Like, one of the, like, looking at like other games, for example, that have done poorly, and the developers have said, you know what, we know we fucked up, and or like publishers, and like they try to, like, their goal is to have good community support rather than, I shouldn't say rather than, but like obviously all the goals is to make money, but one of their biggest goals is how can we make sure the community likes us doing what we do. And like one of them is like Larian with the like Baldur's Gate 3 and the way that they handled their development for that. The way that like No Man's Sky came out, and the way that the developers for that kind of completely like, you know, fuck the money, like, you know, the amount of consistent content they come out with for free afterwards. Try to turn that around. And like what had been prior to Cyberpunk 2077, the way that people viewed fuck, I don't know, I was just blanked on their name. But they have done a lot to correct the issues that they had with that, because like they want, you know, community support and like approval. It's not 100% money, but like overall, like money is money. So there's no reason for Jagex to change what they're doing, because what they've been doing, I mean, I can't say for forever, but for the last 10 years has been working extremely well, and it has never been more profitable with them doing what they're doing right now. So there's no reason why they should change. It is what any business person involved in their meetings and staffing should be saying. But
it's just shit because the developers obviously care about the game so much.
They sure do.
They care so much, but the higher ups, upper management, whatever you want to call them, they're just like, they just care about money and that's it. And
it's their job to care about that, though. At the same time,
yeah, and that's just shit. Like,
I don't understand how there's more of a bridge there.
Imagine if Jagex,
none of the people that have like that, or I shouldn't say none, but very rarely are the people that are in like those ownership positions that have that as much of the financial say. Very rarely are they, from what I've seen, very rarely are they actual gamers themselves or people who have been in games development. They're just a business person, and this is a thing that they do for business. It wasn't a passion or anything. It was money.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry. All right, we got way off track on there.
Yeah,
the last question. I don't know where the fuck we would be at.
I think it was me next on the community showcase.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I have nothing against it, but yeah, it'd be better to see that time spent on community engagement pointed towards like everything that you guys were just talking about.
All right. We'll move on to the Gielinor Gazette post that came out. And in the Gazette, they highlighted there were 7 different content news posts, 3 game updates, and 2 community and communication posts. Do you think it's too much? So I mentioned it like in the introduction, but is this too much? Like, how can players reasonably expect to keep up to date with the rapid and ever-growing speed of the development for the game? Do you think there's a real way for someone to keep up with everything? Like, do the staff that work on the game even know everything that's going on with it? I don't know. I'm just, what are your thoughts?
All right, so for me, I would just like separate the content news posts into different sections. Like, there's leagues, which there's like not even half the player base probably cares about leagues. So that's just one news post that half the player base won't even read, regardless of even if they would read the news post in the first place. And then there's actual content. And then there's like changes to content that they proposed the week or 2 weeks prior that they're like regarding feedback on whatever the fuck that they just proposed the week prior. And I don't think the news posts are a problem, because it's good that they're communicating with us. I'm not really sure. I don't think the game's really been progressing that fast. Like, sure, we've been getting a lot of information really fast, but I'm sure that's because it's like almost Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they're going to be out for like 3 weeks or more. And we're not going to get like pretty much any of this stuff until January, probably. So I don't think it's really that fast. It's just like they're dumping all of this info on us, and we're just like sitting on it and waiting for a couple months while they prepare all of it.
I think it's a little too fast, just because I think they heard everybody complaining that we weren't getting anything for a while, which was true. And now all of a sudden they think they need to do everything, which I don't know. I appreciate them wanting to do a lot of stuff, but I think if they just found more of like a medium point rather than trying to not do really much of anything or just trying to do like everything. Me personally, it is a lot to keep up with. I was actually having to review over a couple topics that were posted recently before the podcast just to make sure everything I was saying was accurate. But yeah, I don't know. I just wish they would kind of hold the brakes personally on that one.
Do you guys know, did they ever find like a buyer for the company yet?
I think it's still for sale.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think like they probably have like metrics, or like when we've released like Inferno or whatever in the past, we had this percentage of a membership increase, and when we release this kind of update in the past, we have this, much of a membership increase. This
Oh,
is,
they
like,
definitely
an
do. They
estimation.
definitely do.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe that's why they're just like pumping out the blog posts left and right, but I don't know. I mean, I think the game's been traditionalist mindset. Like I said on the other podcast, I absolutely think the game's been progressing too fast, personally. But
Yeah.
that's just how I feel.
If I could add one more thing too, I would like to say, I wish they would kind of condense some of their news posts a little too. I think sometimes it's a little oversaturated with unnecessary things too, and
Oh, big time.
for somebody that like plays a lot, I couldn't imagine how most common players are reading through all that and actually having an understanding of it.
They're not.
So
They're
Yeah,
not.
Bro, it's like a
yeah.
uni student. It's like a uni student trying to get in as much fucking words in their essay.
yeah,
Sometimes it's horrible on the eyes. It really is.
Yeah, at least they're doing seem to still be doing the like thing where you can just listen to somebody read
Not
it, right?
on
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, not on everything, but some of them they are. That's nice, I guess.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
just
how you keep
so
up to
good.
date with everything.
Still-
Like, it feels like we're just gonna get a waterfall of events soon. But anyhow, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so with that, like, I mean, like, as I put together the podcast for this stuff, and like I have every single podcast since we've started this. Like when I initially came back with the podcast, I was thinking I was going to be doing it like once a month, but like it's been every 2 weeks just to try to keep up with the content that's been coming out, because there's just been so much going on. And like I don't know, like there were times like years and years ago where I could get by with going like having the podcast once every 3 weeks as opposed to every 2 weeks, and the podcast would be like a nice condensed like 2-hour type thing. Now I mean we're having these every 2 weeks, and every single one is like pushing 3 hours, and I'm having to delete several topics every single time. And as I put together the formats for this, like they have never, and I can attest to it from being a player for the last what's almost been 11 years, and also from putting together the 88 different podcast formats that I've done. They have never been hitting us with more updates, more information, and more stuff than they ever have before. And I think it's a little too concerning, because based on the metrics that they've shown us before in the past as well, is that the players who play the least amount of time are the players who vote yes at a higher rate than any other person. So the more you play, the more likely you are to vote no. The less you play, the less likely you know about what's actually going on with the update, the less you know about the game, the more likely you are to say yes. So I think that it's perpetually, like it's compounding on itself on players that are just voting yes to shit they have no idea about. And that's where one of my bigger concerns is coming from. And it's hard. Like, I mean, I don't play 50 hours a week now, but it's hard even playing like 2 hours a day to, enjoy the game and be able to keep up with everything else that's going on. And I don't know how a casual player is able to keep up with what they're pumping out. And, we'll talk a little bit more coming up about, they've been giving us all these updates, all this stuff. There's one thing that they've been neglecting for a couple months. We'll talk about that next.
I mean, like I tried reading that dev blog, and it's just like such a ridiculous amount of information. I just read like half of it, to be honest with you.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like such ridiculous amount of information. It's like you said, right? Like a couple of months ago, we had like no updates at all, and now they're hitting us with like leaks. They're hitting us with the sailing. They're hitting us with demi bosses, forestry update. I mean, it's like 2 trillion things at once, and I don't really know what's going on. It's like there was like a time we had like a couple of months with like literally nothing when it comes to updates, right? Like we got like pretty much nothing.
And that's not a bad thing. And I know that it, the way that the game is set up is that it is always meant to always be getting updates and always expanding and always updating.
I like updates, to be honest. Now a lot of skillers really dislike updates, but I'm all for updates. But it's just like they should announce like 1 or 2 updates. You should get excited for them, because when they announce like 20 different ones, like which one am I excited for?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to really focus your excitement on one update when we've got like 5 things to track.
Oh, it's certainly more than 5. But like
whatever the fuck it is.
I don't think we've ever been at a point where there is so much like. And here's the thing. I haven't even read the fucking mega post of the game jam that came out earlier today. Like there has never been more things like
the fuck is game jam?
A huge fucking post about a bunch of different ideas and plans and things. Like like another summer summit.
I think I remember there was another game jam back in the day, wasn't there?
Oh, they've had it like 4 times. So yeah.
Yeah, I believe like a year ago there was an idea to like remaster the mechanics of agility, and it looked really good actually. It was something like the higher agility, the less armor weighs, which I like. I like that personally. So if you were 99 agility, like armor, if you were wearing like full armor, melee, whatever, it would weigh like 0 kilogram, -5. Because right now, I believe agility doesn't really give you all that much satisfying rewards. Shortcuts, slightly higher run energy.
Are hardly ever even utilized.
Exactly.
Like, let's say weigh 50 kilograms, if you weigh 1 kilogram, the same thing.
Well,
right?
for like stamina restoration.
Yeah.
But that would be taking it even further, which I think is all right. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot.
Yeah, the higher kg, the more your run energy drains when you run.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're minus, then it drains less. If you're not minus, it's all the same.
Yes.
No, that is not true.
That's not.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
it
that's
is.
how it works.
It is.
Yeah,
sure?
naught and minus are the same, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're like -1 or if you're like +1, that makes all difference. But if you're like +50 or +1, it's the same thing.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
No.
No. The more you weigh, the faster you drain, and
That's right.
Try running around with like a fucking inventory of like
granite.
Or coal.
And the only thing that can slow down the drain of run energy is the ring of endurance, which is why it's the best item. Which is why it's the best item in the game.
But that game jam thing, they had the idea of agility. The higher agility, the less armor weighs. And also, the higher agility, the slower your run energy depletes while you're running. That would be great. I would really welcome that, just to give people more incentive to train agility. Because right now, it just gives a few sweet shortcuts, and that's about it. Whoop-de fucking do.
I remember that game jam proposal. It was really good. I think it was Husky, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on is there was one section in there that Rock wrote, which he's certainly a lot more behind the scenes now with his role. Been on one of the podcasts before as well. He's real good. But he had a section beautifully written discussing quality of life and future poll of like quality of life updates. What would one thing that you would like to see on the next quality of life poll be?
Oh shit, I didn't read that second part. I'm not ready. Can you like skip me and come back to me, please?
Move you to the bottom. Onyx, what you got?
Something I want to see on the next QOL poll. Honestly, like, I feel like we maybe ban some plugins.
Sure. Do you have any in mind?
Question. Inventory mover would be nice to ban. I don't know. I don't have any off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of PVM that are just, like pretty scuffed. I've heard, but
yeah, inventory mover. I abused that while I was doing RC to 99.
I've used it too. I'm just saying I would have preferred it never to be in the game to begin with. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, reverse of the question.
How about you, Sebi?
Oh, I was not paying attention, to be honest. Like quality of life updates?
Yeah. What would you want to see as you enter into your post 200 mil all?
I'm not creative enough to think of something, I don't think. I don't know.
Actually, I thought of something. Like one nice thing would be, like in the GE now, where you put in an offer and it has like your last purchased item or whatever, or your last like offer. Like it'd be nice if there's like a list or some shit, like your last 10, something like that. Because like
that would be nice.
buying supplies on the alts or some shit would be just nice to not have to search it every time. I guess something like that.
Yeah.
Flipping utilities plugin shout out.
It does that?
Yeah, you can search pretty much any item, and you can also give them quick codes, so you can have like RDS for Rune Dragons and have all of the loot or all of the gear or all of the supplies with that quick code. And then when you search that in the Grand Exchange, then it'll only show those items.
It's
great.
I wonder how the hell that actually works. Like,
I'm not even sure. I think it's gotta have to do something to do with the similar, at least with the Quest Helper plugin, being able to filter only items that you need to buy.
Yeah, I guess so. Which that's super overpowered,
and you basically just define what the quest is that you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense then. But that's still, I don't know the mechanics behind how that works. Yeah.
It's really easy. Like it opens the side panel. You search an item in the Grand Exchange or in the side panel. You favorite it, and then the default quick search code is the number 1, and then you just click it or double click it, and then replace that 1 with whatever you want. Save it, and that's it. And it does it per account too. So you don't have to have like, different profiles or anything for if you have an alt using the same thing. You can have like different favorite lists and different quick search codes.
Okay. All right. So for the purposes of time, I'd cut a few questions here, and as we move on to the sailing section here, we've all already been on the podcast talking about sailing, but Rig, you have not.
Yeah.
So this sailing is gonna just be for the interest of time. This is exclusively gonna be a section for you.
Sure.
So leading up here is talk about the section here. So in the Gazette, it talks about sailing, that there should be news this month referring to November. However, like, it was in August that it passed. It has been more than 2 months, and we have not heard anything about sailing, whether it be in the new skill Discord or in the actual news post itself. We've heard 40 other things about everything else that's going on, but nothing about the biggest update in the history of the game. Moving on to the actual questions for this, though. So, Rig, and we've had this on most of the podcasts since returning, is of the 3 skills that the team moved forward to pull with sailing, shamanism, and taming, which one did you like best, or did you dislike all the options?
Let me sip some water.
Sailing and water, this guy.
Me too.
Oh dear. Man, I don't know what your guys' take is on sailing, bro, but I have never, ever liked the idea of it. As for shamanism and taming, sailing, all 3 of them looked pretty bad. Sailing, from what we've seen of it on YouTube, it literally looks like an intermediate quest rather than a skill, in my opinion. I've always been very picky and very funny with a skill coming into RuneScape. I'm open to an idea, a good idea when it comes to a new skill. I just don't think sailing is a good idea in general. And it makes me very worried about the future, just because I know sailing is coming into the game. I've been so positive about all of the updates that come into the game, raids, quality of life updates, skilling minigames, you name it, but a new skill is such a touchy subject, and it does seem like it split the community in 2.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I want to give a shout out for is one of the topics that I don't know if it was on one of the previous podcasts, but like I had talked about that, like content creators. Yeah, it was definitely, I think it might have been on the last one, but I was talking about like content creator. You know, obviously you are an amazing exception, and that's, you know, is kind of true to like the you're still a player, you know, when it comes down to it. Is that the content creators like are always yes, more new update, more new stuff, the new flavor of the month that I can stream, rather than caring about themselves, what they're wanting to do in the game and playing it. So, like...
Randy, honest to God, I try to be a positive player when it comes to updates and whatnot, and honestly, I've been happy with 95% of updates that have come into Old School since its release. But skilling... a new skill has the potential to really change the feel and vibe of the game, especially if they make the skill intrusive. Intrusive, and what I mean by this is... For example, if sailing was to come out, it would be, for example, it would be inefficient to train Slayer without the involvement of sailing. If it becomes intrusive like that, it's going to really fuck up the feel and vibe of the game, I think. If it comes out, I'd like it to just be a standalone skill.
Yeah.
But from what Jagex is saying, it's probably not going to be that. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so they had mentioned like some of their tertiary methods, which would include like a little bit of sailing, a little bit of mining, a little bit of like... I just gotta hope that they've got some sense of the potential damage for it. You know, like,
yes.
I don't think that they've ever come out with an update that, you know, and obviously this is from a skiller's perspective, that they've ever come out with an update that could potentially like ruin the game. But this is the first one that could.
Sure. I do want to say too that sailing just looks a bit too bloated for my liking. You know, skilling to me is a simplistic activity. Sailing, on the other hand, looks like, I don't know, again, it looks like a fucking Grandmaster Quest or something. It just doesn't look like a skill to me. It looks too much.
Honestly, I just wish that they just like condense all this stuff and make the skill navigating to different islands, and then islands have content that involve the other skills, but the actual skill that you're doing with sailing is navigating the seas to get to those islands or places that you're then using, where you're then discovering those resources or monsters or whatever, and then just get like a big XP drop when you clear all of the content, or and a smaller XP drop when you initially discover it.
Put it this way, right? Sorry, go on.
And then it's basically on its own, and then it unlocks more for other skills, but you don't need to do it for other skills unless it's like you just busted. It just introduces busted new content. But
put it this way, right? Now that the voting's done and sailing's passed, and we have video footage now of what sailing could be, I've asked my chat many times, especially when my stream has been busy, 400 plus players, and I asked them, do you regret voting yes for sailing, to those who voted yes? And it was a wave of yeses.
Really?
Of regret.
Damn.
It might be an update that we actually end up regretting voting yes for those that did.
do they
Because
ever,
again,
do they ever say why they regret voting yes?
I didn't really go into it, really. I just wanted a simple yes or no.
Probably saw forestry and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah, probably that, just some recent content that's come out, they're probably not feeling optimistic about.
Yeah, I mean, the team does a very good job on things that aren't skilling related. The quests, they've done a great job on. The PVMing, they've done a superb job on.
Well,
the
minigame, the skilling minigames have been great.
Yeah, the minigames have been solid, but I mean, they're not necessarily like, all right, this is the new, I know the other things can maybe be a little bit different based on your account type, but like, people don't do like Guardians of the Rift, like, all right, this is the new efficient way to get 200 mil type thing. Like,
sure.
So,
you have to understand, though.
They've done a good job on.
Same with Temperos.
Yeah, trying to stay away as much as they can from skilling. I think the best updates that they've done, I believe, are non-skilling related ones.
Sure.
Randy, let me ask you something. Is that like what we want, though? We don't want to get like our skills devalued?
It doesn't even have to do with devaluing, like, because there are certain methods that they've come out with and certain quality of life things that have devalued.
You have had 10 years of devaluation.
Fine. It's like quality of the content, like what has happened to the game that I love?
I mean, I think Guardians of the Rift is like fantastic.
Oh, I got no complaints on it.
Skilling has been devalued to living shit over the past 10 years, bro.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, because like Randy said, like Guardians of the Rift was great, but no one really does it with 200 mil. And then they just said, like, yeah, but isn't that like what we kind of want? We don't want it to be like OP or something. But
well, yeah, I'm saying like, but
it's like a little too bad.
Yeah, but like,
the more involved they've tried to be with skilling, the worse I feel like the updates have been.
The drift net,
yeah,
just like totally ruined
everything. Fossil Island.
Yeah, I have a 1.5 Teeks is good, but
that was a happy that was a happy accident.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional.
Why is that? Why is that happy? And when it was like arguably a much bigger increase to EHP rates than when
we have redwoods, right?
It's like a 20k per hour increase. It wasn't that big. 180k at 2 tick to what, like 200 at the start of 1.5.
Also,
it's so much
harder
than 2 ticks. So.
Like, I also think it was because that was player found too. Like, I think it's kind of odd, especially like,
that's a good
some
way
of the gnome cube ideas and stuff coming up too. It's like when they identify and recognize methods like that are player based and player done, that's when it starts to get weird.
Well, which part was of the what we were just talking about?
When Mod Maz, who was the person who developed everything on Fossil Island, a lot of issues with how they thought that the birdhouses were going to be. By the way, their initial projections were that like birdhouses were going to be like 30 mil XP per hour. Separate issue with that. There were a lot of issues with Fossil Island and that mod's idea on what quality content would have been. However, when he's talking about like something being a player discovered method versus a like Jagex released method, like like with it being when I said a happy accident, Mod Maz had no idea that they were making a viable 1.5 tick teak woodcutting method. They just plopped trees next to squirrels and thought they looked cute. That's literally how the development went. I mean, it sounds like a joke, but that's literally how the development went. So it's not so like that was ended up being a happy accident with good skilling content resulting from it.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Fossil Island, but I do like my herbivore, bro, because I don't like hunting chins.
Oh, you are different, bro. You like herbivore?
Yeah. I guarantee you, bro, a big majority of the player base prefers herbivore over hunting chins. I guarantee it, just because it's really chill. It's just like a giant agility course.
Definitely true.
That's a good
Definitely.
Herbivore is not bad. Herbivore is not bad. I'll say like volcanic mine kind of shit. That like volcanic mine might have been my favorite method that I did. Pretty shit update to the skill though. Like for what it ended up doing.
Herbivore, you click once every 20 seconds. It's brain dead, bro. Casuals love it, including me. Pretty good for Iron Man too.
And it's like close to 180k an hour at 99.
That's right, and it gives you a fuckload of herbs too. It's great for Iron Man.
Yeah, I think like what it does is okay. It doesn't sniff like one tick chin rates, and it gives unique rewards in that. I mean, separate from the pet, the herbs. Like I think herbivore is okay. I shouldn't be hating on Fossil Island as much as I was, but the teaks thing though was an accident. Everything else like intention, like that was an accidental new meta.
Yeah, and when it comes to sailing, you look at like what's the most similar skilling update to what sailing sounds like it'll be, and I think DriftNet is like multi-skilling shit, and that's what sailing sounds like. So that's what I would base like what their ideas are around that off of.
Yeah, I'm really, really hoping they hold off on that and release that after like a month or two, so players can figure out the best methods, and then they can balance based on what players are actually getting, rather than what they are thinking players are going to get. That way it'll be way more balanced and way less likely to like completely break the game for like a day.
See, what's different about sailing too that I think is odd is just like they seemingly are adding so much at once, which like every other skill that's ever came into the game has come in seemingly pretty simple. So it's like it has time to develop. This just seems like everything's right here for you. Like we don't even really have any development process with it. It's just boom, here's all the metas, this is what you do.
I think they've mostly just been talking about ideas, and they've been kind of quiet and they haven't said much about like what their process is with the actual development process, but they're getting the tech required for like ship movement and stuff, and they figured out that they can do things that they didn't realize that they could have done before. So I think like the past like several months have been mostly kind of theory crafting and testing the limits of the engine and seeing what could be done. And then there's like a bunch of other ideas that they've thought about but haven't really actually developed. So it's not like they can't just scrap some like overpowered things. So I'm not like super worried at the moment, because we haven't seen like anything that's actually been confirmed to come with sailing.
Can I quickly ask you guys something? It's a question for all of you, because you guys seem to be like beastie skillers. When sailing comes out, because it's inevitable at this point, do you think the top 10 ranks will change?
Oh yeah,
like a card deck, like shuffled.
I think, let me look at the top 10 right now. I think I'd be stunned if 2 of the current top 10 retain. Let me
Two
see.
of them? What, really?
Okay, maybe not two. All right, let me see though. So current top 10, and I'll just ramble it off in order, and they deserve it. Just even shout outs here. So Lynx, Jace, Sean Bay, Sense, Tom, Karma, Harmony, Scott, God Tormentor, and Vinny. I would say, like, of those, so Lynx doesn't play at all. Sean Bay doesn't play at all. I don't believe Sens does anymore. Jace is obviously active. Tom's still active. Just got a pet yesterday too, by the way. Karma, I don't think plays much anymore, but he did do 200 mil all on RS3. Karma will be one of the top 10 accounts that completes it. I think Scott could maybe be top 10.
Yeah, what about Godservant? Do you know anything about him?
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a real good player.
Beast.
He just maxed his alt recently.
I used to get top 10 if he wants to.
Yeah. So like he's still active and playing.
Sean Bay, a pretty good skiller, isn't he?
He was when he played. Yeah, I mean I don't think he's logged in years.
Oh shit. Okay.
But
I definitely think it's gonna show up a lot. Yeah.
I would say at least 5 of the top 10 are going to be different. Because, I mean, there's going to be about... How many people do we have right now? 47. Sebi's going to be 48. There'll maybe be about 65, 70 or so people, like, that would be 200 mil all by the time. And obviously, you got to filter it by how many people of those are still actively playing, and then how many of them have a chance to play, 100+ hours a week.
Man, and 70 players competing for rank 1, whatever, that's a big competition, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a competition for first. I think it's more so just going to be a top page type deal, because I think that a good chunk of them are going to be going at it.
Oh, bro, you know a few of them nerds are going to go for rank 1. They're going to be there for the taking.
Oh, I mean, like, there'll be a few people, I think, that will...
People will be shitting out windows. Pissing out the windows to fucking maintain the XP.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is going to be a new day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that the most optimal way is to use a litter box.
Yep.
Plundering, brother.
All right. Let's just try to let's last
Bro, man said a litter box. Holy shit! I'm gonna fucking use that on stream, bro. They're gonna get their fucking litter boxes out when sailing comes out, boy. Just you fucking wait. That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe I should do that. I was sometime in like February. I think I'm getting a bathroom installed in my basement. We're remodeling our master bathroom right now, and it's going to be done this week. But part of that was that like we were going to redo the master bathroom after like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Or, I'm sorry, we were gonna put in a bathroom in the basement after Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday crap because we're hosting it for our family this year.
Nice.
But I've got room for it. It's just a little storage area. Like the plumbing is already in place. It's not like I got to do much, but maybe I should just go with a litter box instead of putting in that bathroom 15 feet away.
Fuck it, lad. Why not?
So, all right. Last bit on sailing here. We move on then, though. Rig. So obviously they manipulated the polls by lowering the standards from.
Obviously.
Well,
obviously,
I mean, they lowered it from 75 to 70, and then immediately announced a new skill. So obviously, and there's a bunch of other manipulation things that took place.
Listen, bro. In my eyes,
had it it didn't hit 75% with that.
It failed the poll. I don't give a shit.
Do you think that it could have potentially passed with any refinement to it, or no? Like,
I don't think so.
So like it gets the 71.9 that it got, and then they do refinement.
The sad thing is, Randy, is that the only reason sailing passed is because it's a meme. The sad thing about it, bro.
I wouldn't say only reason. There are a lot of reasons, but
Bro, it's a giant fucking meme. Literally, it's always been a meme, has it not? Sailing, right?
It has been. I mean, that's why they had like in April 1st through like the 8th of 2014, they had like sailing as a skill, and you can get it to level 5 doing I don't even know what, but.
Bro, I guarantee you, Randy, all of the casuals that looked at the poll when it came to sailing, taming, etc., they looked at sailing, with the 600 total and went, sailing's a meme. I'm going to vote for sailing.
Oh, yeah, and that's what the data, based on what they share with us, shows as well.
That's what's sad to me, bro. But sorry, what was the question? I'm ranting a little bit here.
Do you think that with refinement, it could have hit 75%?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's something I've kind of hopped like back and forth a little bit on, and I don't know who it was that made the point in one of the previous podcasts we had, is that like I initially thought that with refinement they probably could have been able to get it up to that, but whoever it was made a really good point, and it was like they changed so many different things to be able to put this thing in the best case scenario for it to potentially pass. They knew it wasn't going to get 75%. They knew to pull it. They knew to pull it. They knew to hide it as the 6th question in a 12-part poll, and they knew exactly how to get it to pull and pat. And yeah, I don't know if with refinement it could have, but
I'm with you though, bro. The poll threshold was lowered so that sailing would pass. I agree with you.
Yeah. So. All right. As we move on to some of the other closing parts of the podcast here, this is one of the things submitted from Onyx was, what do you think was the worst update in the history of old school RuneScape? You had to point to one.
Personally,
and let's try to be a little bit quick with this, as we got still a handful left, but are crunched on time.
Yep.
I think RuneLight, like their affiliation with it specifically, that's probably my opinion. I'm trying to think of like one update specifically, but that's kind of the only thing that keeps recurring to me. Hate RuneLight.
Worst update in the history of OSRS? That's like a whole 10 years. But I will say in recent times, it's definitely forestry for me. It's just woodcutting with shitty, mindless random vents popping up, clicking on fucking rainbows and clicking back on the tree. It's ridiculous, brother. It's one of the worst updates I've seen in recent times. And on top of that, a lot of the items they use in forestry have fucking charges. I'm not a fan of charges.
Yeah, I agree with everything about forestry. I would have to say forestry, and driftnet. I really don't like just streamlining the entirety of like 2 skills with one method like that. Yeah, forestry and driftnet.
Just a very lazy update, forestry. But yeah.
I mean, I hate that. Like when I initially watched the presentation for forestry, I immediately thought this is going to be a terrible fucking update. And
yeah,
I mean, like,
same.
And then, I'm wrong a lot of times. Like, I was very wrong about how I thought the volcanic mine was going to be. But, like, sometimes when you're right, you're right. And it's like, damn, like, I wish I wasn't. But I'm going to take this from a amount of mistakes type of thing. And the initial release of achievement diaries, and I'll say this as well, like, I believe that once achievement diaries came out, the way that the game was developed completely changed based on what the players wanted. The developers would then do it. Then from that point, it changed to, hey, here's our plan for what we're going to do. Do you guys approve of it? But with the achievement diaries, there was a running tally that Ginge and Trick had, because they would, like at the bottom of the news post when there would be an update, there would be something like fixed a correction or like a misspelling on this thing for achievement diaries, or a bug with it. The achievement diaries itself had like literally in excess of 100+ bugs, and that was when a counter stopped for it 5 years ago.
I did not know that.
So like,
oh my god,
yeah. I mean, I think part of that is also because they released every one of the diaries all at once, which I thought was kind of. I think that should have just been we're releasing it one diary every week, and then boom, you're covered for literally months of updates. But I by worst, I think that it was a great update, but like there was more than 100 running tally, self-admitted bugs with achievement diaries.
Yeah, I kind of spoke about it earlier, but yeah, I'll say Inferno personally. Just
Really?
not a fan. Yeah, it's like whenever you see someone gay on the Infernal Cape, you always wonder, like, did he get himself or did he buy it? Like, it's just dumb.
But the actual content itself. What about the actual content of the Inferno?
Well, to be fair, I don't actually know what's going on when I watch that content, so I'm not sure.
Ignorance. It's a shit update.
You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, then, brother. With all due respect, right?
I don't like the cape. That's all. The cut itself, I don't know, but
Is Plundering, what's yours? Combat?
Alright, no. Mine is going to be a collection of updates that happened within a short period of time. And those were the Wyvern drop table buff, the Zulrah release.
So that was November of 2014. Go ahead.
Yes, Wyvern drop table buff, the Zulrah release.
In January
and
2015.
And the best and worst update, the GE removal.
And that was like February, March 2015.
So I remember when Solera got released, like money making before Solera was like non-existent.
I mean, like legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to runecraft nature runes and sell them. Like that was like, and PVMing for money didn't really exist before Zulrah because of how shit gear was and how the development of the PVM community was. Like you couldn't do God Wars and make several million an hour like you can now.
That was because of
a lot of hop timers.
No, DDoS or
that was a problem as well. But there was also there were also hop timers in as well. So like efficiently doing God Wars now, you're hopping every kill, but like you had to wait 30 seconds or something like that if you were hopping worlds at that time or something like that.
If like hopped many worlds, you had to like wait, right?
Yeah. They would literally they would like freeze your account.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Which seems it seems so silly now looking at that.
They still have that. It's just much higher now.
Okay.
I think that Solera release, it kind of like forced like all other content to also like give a bunch of GP, and it really just like devalued GP, I guess. Like Solera.
You're just basically making PVM content, healing supplies.
Yeah, I would say Zulrah probably started the transition into making the game PVM skip.
It did, and it's terrible for the economy, bro. I've never agreed with bosses dropping things like runes or flags, pure essence, you name it. It should always come from skilling them type of supplies, in my opinion, anyway.
I don't. You know what I want them to do? I want them to just rework all of the drop tables, and instead of like X number of item, you get like a catalyst, and that catalyst gives you that same number of bonus items from skilling, or you can just sell it on the GE. That way skillers can just buy those catalysts, get multipliers on their resources that they're gathering, and then PVMers can just sell those catalysts on the GE, and it's just like, it kind of like spreads the profit between both of them, and they're both actually doing like pretty much the same thing, except I don't know. I guess
everything being PVM.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty similar to what RS3 does. I'm pretty sure, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, went on quick here. We're coming up on time. Another one from Onyx is, what has been your favorite grind on the game?
crafting mud runes.
4G, Corey.
Redwoods.
I think the question says grind, Sebi.
Oh, grind. That's like grind, right? It's a lot of hours.
Yeah, I'm on the redwood grind.
No, you got a point there. Maybe Slayer.
Just nerd necking redwoods.
No, you can actually like technically play them, can't you?
You can.
You can.
But
Yeah, you
picture
can.
you just like AFKing them, but
yeah,
crunched
for sure.
over.
I was actually trying to 1.5 tick redwoods earlier this week.
Uh,
I was getting like 170, 180k an hour.
That's pretty
After-
fucking good.
After a
that's if you
few
axe,
hours.
though, so it's not that good, right?
Yeah, that was.
I mean, that's pretty
yeah.
good for it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
just learned the methods, so
Yeah, no, I'm not fucking trash about you. I'm just saying.
You see, like Redwoods is
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
under
yeah.
that category though, of like kind of close to Dale. Like obviously
Yeah,
I'm
it's
a little biased here, but it's like, dude, you're supposed to be AFK in there. If you're 1.5 ticking there, what are you doing, man? You should be at
True.
like Teaks or something.
It's
True,
higher
true.
meta, I think, but yeah.
the thing
I'll see people like 1.5 ticking Dale. Sometimes I'm just like, what are you here for again, man?
for me is just that for redwoods it's just way easier to learn just the actual rhythm, and what I'm planning is once my teaks finish actually tonight I'm going to try learning 1.5 tick teaks. I was just trying to like get the rhythm down, and then I'm going to work on movement next.
Are level
with
3s
the-
able to do that? Like, with the kudos?
Yeah,
and
we can
shit?
we can
I didn't-
we
I
can do
didn't-
1.5 we can do 1.5 tick teaks on
Okay.
Fossil Island.
Okay.
Can
But
use a crystal felling axe, but yeah.
But yeah, and I have the dragon felling axe. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically I was just doing redwoods first, is you only have to walk one tile each shop, so it's like easier to get the rhythm down, and then now I'm going to like focus on the movement stuff with Aptiques and see if that does better for me or if I prefer redwoods or not. I'm trying to give everything a fair shot to see which ones I like really enjoy more. Because why play if you're not enjoying, you know?
Okay.
My favorite grind, I'm gonna try as quick as I can. I miss kind of like when Iron Man was a little bit more respectable. Like I remember back in the day, I had to adjust my sleep schedule entirely. It was basically waking up at like midnight and staying up till like 4 in the afternoon. But flicking bandos back in the day when you just had to be, hopping worlds all the time. It was annoying, but looking back on it, it was a fun time.
Right. I think really honestly, Volcanic Mind might have been it. Like with a good private team, like if someone were to tell me like, okay, you have to play the game 500 hours a month, what would be the method that I would do? It would be like private team Volcanic Mind.
Yeah, for me, it would probably be 100 mil RC with Nature Runes back in the day, or rank 1 of all of the Dagonoth King KC.
Fuck yeah. All right, so let's be quick here. Last two things. So first, give a shout out to a random RuneScape player. Give a shout out Crabcore. He got 200 mil prayer during the recording of the podcast, and earlier today he got 10k EHP.
My shout out is to Articon. I don't know if you skillers have heard of this name before, but he's a Grandmaster player, probably one of the best PVMers in the game, and I really appreciate that he is willing to teach everybody on Twitch via his channel how to become a better PVM. So yeah, shout out to Articon, Grandmaster Articon. His will to teach, and yeah.
My shout out is gonna go to Tribuo. It's Latin for something I can't remember. He is my inspiration. He late, maybe a year and a half ago, his PC just like completely bricked, and he ended up having to play on mobile and was still consistently putting in 100-hour weeks on mobile, doing Temperos, air battle staves, all that stuff. He even learned like solo method on tempo or at tempo to get like 95k an hour as a level 3. And I don't know, his dedication, even though he was not able to play at a computer, just like, I guess it was inspiring to me. And that's it.
Real quick, shout out Bala, Bakusho, and Uba, my best friends in Hexis, and appreciate being on the cast with all y'all. And Rig too, man. Probably won't get another opportunity to speak with you like I have today, man. And I don't know if you remember me too much. We haven't always seen too eye to eye on subjects in the past, but today was a pleasure conversation, man. I wish you all the best in life and in Runescape, man.
Hey, sorry, bro. Yeah, I sadly can't remember what our issues were, but I've been a streamer, bro. There's armies of people that I have issues with, and they have issues with me. So, but no, good vibes from me, bro.
Hey, cheers, man.
Shout out to Istra. Quit your grocery store job or convenience store job and get back to streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, shout out to Huba. This guy's like apparently down bad. He told me to give him a shout out, so
asking for a shout out. It's
ask for a random player.
That's some low life shit there, Huba.
It says give a shout out to random Runescape player, so here you go.
All right, and then last one here. What have you been up to during the podcast, and what goals do you have? I was killing Giant Mole. I haven't been doing it much lately, but I'm up to 4760 kills. Still haven't got it. I guess my goal is to try to get that, but I've been doing a little bit more, playing other games on the side, so I've been getting my Jad counter up, hit 1400 the other day.
You sold around there?
Huh?
You went trying as well?
What?
Solra?
I finished. I got the pet.
Yeah, but that was the last pet, right?
Oh, yeah. I think that was like 6 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, and you went trying that one too, right? Like 9k or something?
Oh, yeah. Like 9 something.
Yeah.
Been a while. I don't know if I've ever... Sarachnis I got early, but every other pet that I've gotten, I've been well over the rate.
Yeah.
But what about you, Rig? What are you up to?
Just AFKing some redwoods for my birdhouse runs. My Iron Man, of course. I don't play my main anymore. Not for years. Yeah, just AFKing redwoods. Having a good time.
Yeah, I've been doing some CMI on the main and some Nex on the alt.
Plundering, sorry.
I've been doing some drift netting. Getting 0.93 an hour. That's why I've been kind of distracted, but yeah.
Only
What I-
3?
9-3.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
0.93. And
That's
my
about-
goal is to finish this year at over 4K EHP.
What I will be doing after this podcast, some severe XP waste, but I will be playing the original Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, dude, I have that.
wow.
I've got that.
One of my all-time favorites,
Yeah,
Mos Eisley.
I've got it. Do you have it on Steam or do you got it on a different
Steam.
platform? Okay.
Steam.
I got it on Steam a few months ago. I haven't played it yet, but do they have a co-op on there?
Yes.
I'll keep that in mind.
I've been doing just 1.5 teaks. As
What's the XP?
I have been in
XP 81 mil, or did you mean per hour?
Oh, just total.
Oh yeah, I think 81 mil.
Okay, good stuff. All right.
81.7. Never mind.
All right, so as we're coming up
I've been
here,
there.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh,
cut
it's
you.
okay, Randy. I know you just don't want to hear anything I have to say, bro. No, it's all good. No, I'm picking it off, man. Yeah, I know how it is, bro. It's all good. No, I've been a day out though, closing in on a 1 mil stack. I'm pretty excited about that, so I've been chipping away at that when I can.
When are you gonna go through and with all of them?
My goal is to, when I hit 5 mil, I'd like to do a lot of it. I originally was just gonna mine out all 200 mil with rune crafting, but then I figure over time there's probably going to be some other rune crafting stuff I want to do. So 5 mil is my ultimate goal right now with the day ult.
Okay.
It's a great invention, day out. Less time spent RCing, more time spent AFKing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like rune crafting a lot, but just with EHP rates for me, it's really nice that there's stuff like this. I don't play alts or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it here then for the 88th Hexis podcast. Next one will probably be... I mean, there's Thanksgiving coming up. I don't know in terms of availability what things are going to be looking like. So maybe like November 25th or 26th, the next one would air. And again, yeah, like on that one, we'll be talking about the Varlamore activities, the Karen changes, the mid-level PVM boss, and the mega post about Game Jam 4, and then whatever the fuck it is that they throw at us in the next 2 weeks as well. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.